Yes, indeed. Welcome, everyone, to our Halloween special right here on Freaky Friday on Truth Frequency Radio. And I am joined for our very special broadcast by Scotty Lopez. Now, Scotty, I think you're going to stay connected to the hosts in a minute, but my Skype has gone and started acting spooky at the start of our Freaky Friday Halloween special. What's happening, man? Let me just reset my Skype at my end. I believe it's going to leave you on the call with the studio, okay?
Would you like me to bring you back in, or will you rejoin?
Yes, you bring me back in. You watch for me coming back, good sir, okay?
Okie dokie.
Okay, here we go. I'll be back.
Yes, everyone. Welcome to Freaky Friday. Kev will be...
Yes, folks, I'm still here. Don't worry. I'm just going to bring in the network again. You knew something would go wrong on our very, very Freaky Friday, right? So if I phone up this one first, there we go. And then I'll add in the network. Yes, Mr. Scotty, and I will add in the network now. Were you still on, sir?
Yes, and I told everyone to stand by.
So. Here we go. We'll get it going now. See, it's going to be worth the wait. Indeed. So there we go. We're back. We're live, and Scott, I don't know, one of those, I think it's one of those possessed, haunted pumpkins tried to get in the way of our broadcast tonight. I truly do. How you doing, man?
Doing good. It's the Skype gremlins. You know, I think we need to classify them as a cryptid all their own. And also, if you don't mind, Kev, can you share your screen?
Oh yes, thank you for reminding me, good Scotty. Yes, I always forget that when we do this little dance that we seem to do quite regularly.
Yes. So I was letting everyone know that this is the Freaky Friday before Halloween. Much woo is in store for everyone tonight. I think everyone is going to enjoy it. And right before the show kicked off, I think I hit the mother load. I think we have the mother load of just woo. So
if we were mining for gold, Scott, I think we would have definitely hit the seam that is taking us towards the payload, my friend. We're just one blast away, and then Scott, moments before we come on air, and he opens it up like a treasure trove of woo for our Halloween special. Yes, and as you can see, or as you can hear, it's only me and Scott here tonight. We don't have the third musketeer, and myself and Scott would like to give a big shout out to Joe and the family today. You know, the one man I know in the world, Scott, if there's anything bad out there going around, like any bad luck, any stress, any grief, it's like Joe's a magnet for this kind of thing, man. So I think we should ask the audience to send that TFR vibe out to Joe tonight, because dang, he could do with it, dude.
He just can't catch a break. He really can't. So yeah, everyone just give Joe a shout out and send him some love, and
not too much though. Come on, he's Joe. After all, in the end of the day, he's still Joe, and we can't show him too much love, right? But listen, it's Freaky Friday and a big happy Halloween special to everyone, especially all of you over there in the TFRlive.com chat room, the Wookiees. And there's a great gaggle of Wookiees have gathered today for the proceedings, Scott.
Is that what a group of Wookiees is called? A gaggle?
Right in this instant, it's been decided that the pronoun, because you got to get your pronouns right, okay? It's a gaggle, right? Gaggle, or gaggle. What do you think?
A waggle.
A waggle of Wookiees. Now that's unique. Yep. So we give the waggle of Wookiees their much deserved shout out, Scott. And if you want to get your shout out right now live on Freaky Friday, who doesn't want a shout out on Freaky Friday? then all we ask you to do is head on over to tfrlive.com/chat, where at the home of Freaky Friday, you can, for absolutely no money at all, kick back, relax with fellow like-minded Wookiees. And if you think the show's good, you add in the chat room experience and it takes it to a whole new level. So who is chilling out over there? There she is, my very sexy robotic love interest. If I do go down that road, it's going to be Sophia. You know it. I see the way she looks at me, Scott.
You're gonna have to fight Brian.
Is Brian doing the nasty with Sophia?
I think so. Remember, I had said that we needed to shack them up and get them together, and a little birdie told me that I think Brian and Sophia have been getting along quite nicely. Brian, I think, is introducing Sophia to the lovely realm of traffic cones.
Ah, the cones. And of course, if you're stuck for a costume idea this Halloween, you could always go out as Wellington's statue in Glasgow. All you got to do is get yourself a traffic cone, lots of boot polish, dress up in everything black, find a horse. If you could find a real horse, how cool would that be? Although a toy hobby horse would probably do the job just as well. Maybe hard to kind of organize the real horse and get it to consent, or would it be consent to take part in such shenanigans, Scott? Consent.
Yes.
So we're going over to the chat room, and before I even get to the wonderful snaggle or gaggle or waggle of Wookiees, we've got so many suggestions in there. We've got Lucky, and of course Lucky's got her own show right here, folks. You better be checking that out every Monday and Wednesday, right after the Kev Baker show. You see, that's why we tell you, didn't touch that dial. But I like this, Scott. It's a snaggle gaggle. I like that. A snaggle gaggle of Wookiees. And then we've got Andrea saying how about the Wookie cookies? Or Wookie whoopie? Or, yeah, we've got Wookie cookies again. But I think it's the same person, though. Multiple votes. Hey, that's how democracy works nowadays, right? You just keep going back to the ballot box until we get what we're happy with. How about Zookies? Oh, that's where you would have like a kind of enclosure of like tame Wookiees. Zookies. Let's go to the Zookies. See? You see? I like how they've done that. Bam, we like it. That gets points.
Snooky? A Snooky of Wookiees?
Oh, a Snooky of Wookiees. Damn, that's quite cool. Although at the same time, there's something mildly disturbing about a Snooky of Wookiees.
Well, remember, Snooky was from Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
Right?
Not good. Not a good advert for Snookies out there. Anyway, I don't know what we're talking about, Scott. Let me get back to the... Was that a snaggle now? Forgotten. Let's go back to gaggle. It's the waggle of Wookiees. So first up is the aforementioned Lucky. We've got Alan in there. Paradoxical Anomaly. Bam! Geordie Rose chilling out on a Freaky Friday. Who knew? Big shout out, big man. Taking it quantum. We've got Kit in there. The Wookie, Scott. There's us picking the name, and we've got like a bona fide Wookie that we could have asked. So we come down, we've got Andrea, yes indeed. Pollination, I hope your pulse and your heart rate's gone back to normal, Polly. Things were getting a little bitty hot in here during those interviews, the first hour of the show yesterday, my friend. Yes indeed. Sorry myself and Scott aren't quite as pleasing on the eye as yesterday's guest, but hey, we'll just have to do, right? We've got Kenny, Armand. Big shout out to Armand. He's like our Trojan horse down in England, Scott. He's like the pure Scotsman. I've never known a Scottish, like somebody more Scottish. Maybe Whistles, right? But he's down there. He's like a sleeper agent on the south coast. Just ready to be activated, man. We don't want independence. We want to do a full takeover, dude. That's what I'm going to start pushing for.
Better watch out. Better watch out. They're listening in, Kev. They're listening in.
No, Scott, they don't listen to us. You don't think they listen to us, do you? Then, scrolling down, we have got Melissa Taylor, Iferian, Frankentruth. Okay, Scott, I don't care how many more names come up now. Frankentruth is a pretty good candidate for winner. There's always one name sticks out. We've got that eager legend, intelligent soul. So is the soul intelligent, or is that intelligence a byproduct of processes in the brain, which I would suggest the soul has no connection to per se? You don't need a brain for a soul, Scott, right? So can you have an intelligent soul?
And then how do you exactly define intelligence?
Ah. Brian! How you doing, fella?
Shadow Dude and I lighting one up for you boys.
Awesome, and a big shout out to all the shadow dudes in the world. We know you shadow dudes stop haunting people for the 3 hours, in fact 5 hours on a Friday. You kind of put down all your spectral activity. You stop kind of giving people the creeps, and you all tune in to Freaky Friday. And then you used to go back. You used to think, well, that's that done. We'll go back to spooking people now, the way spooks do. But then you found out about Brent Thomas, didn't you? Oh, shadow people out there. And for all you people out there that didn't know, yes, it doesn't stop at Freaky Friday. No, no, no. It just keeps on rolling, and the woo gets more and more intense as the night goes on, because that's how we roll here on TFR. So before I forget, we got sparked into a conversation there by Intelligent Soul, Scott. See, the chat room, it just adds to things, man. We've got the gentle species, bison, lots of them. And Ket is back at the bottom again now. Shih Tzu Bigaloo is in there. Smelly Pits, OMG. I'm still to give Smelly a shout out, because even when they're not there, they're there, I'm told. I'm okay. I'm just out the shower. Not too bad tonight, Scott.
No, we're okay.
And we've got another incoming. For people on TFR, what you're hearing is the music that I dance to when people give us a super
Hope
chat.
Ann had a wonderful birthday.
She did. She did. And she got up this morning, and I think she's lost a couple of years, Scott, right? Because I'm going to have a look round just now, make sure she's not about. She thinks she's the same age as me. She thinks she is, right? But I swear she doesn't look a day over 50, dude.
Oh.
Notice I had to look round first. I know my place, man. I'm not that brave.
Out for the shoe, Kev.
Oh, and a big
Careful.
shout out to everyone out there who sent Anne some love on her birthday. We had a wonderful day today. Didn't even bother doing the safe space earlier on because we were having a family day. We went into Glasgow, we chilled out, we had a laugh. Anne went crazy in a jewellery shop, as you do. I'm sitting there thinking, oh, come on. What is it with girls and shiny things, Scott? What is it? They're like magpies, man. You show them something shiny and they're just all, ooh, they lose themselves.
I think it's genetic memory.
You think so?
I think it has to do. I think it has to do with the Anunnaki making us dig for gold and looking for shiny things in the earth.
I've heard people saying that before, you know.
That's just what I think. I mean, why is it that humans are so attracted to glittery, shiny rocks? You know, there's something about it. I don't know.
No, I'm with you, man.
My thought on it.
No, I'm with you. And for those of you who have stayed in over here in the UK, you know, maybe there's probably a lot of Halloween parties going on this weekend, with it being like the last weekend before. I'm sure there'll be week parties next weekend as well, because in the UK anyway, any excuse for a party, before a holiday, on the holiday, post-holiday, any excuse, Scott, right? That's how it rolls over here. But you know what's really quite intriguing, and we looked at this a while ago, Scott, was some of the costumes nowadays. Like, I feel old when I look at, like, the costumes, like the top costumes that people are wearing when they go out for Halloween. Because I don't even know half of the damn characters that they're talking about, man.
Yeah, you know, a lot of it has to do with pop culture and whatever's, you know, going on, you know, in society at the time, right? Now, I've always been the type of person that, like, during Halloween, I just go for the scare factor. No cutesy costumes, and you know, I go for the shock value, the scare factor. You know, so it was always, you know, zombies or, you know, something gory. You know, just Yeah, because that's just how I always you got to be scary on Halloween.
Well,
So.
dude, I'm going to share something with you right now. Never thought I'd ever share this with the wider listening audience all around the world, but I know my mum's listening right now, okay? And this is like therapy for me, Scott. I need to talk about this. I need to get it off my chest. First of all, she thinks everyone in the chat room should be called Jabberwookies, which I absolutely love. Now that takes me to my next point, though, that I really need to get off my chest, and she'll be sitting in the chair absolutely howling in a moment, right? But you know when you're younger and that, and like young guy, young girl, and your mum's still getting involved, and it's a big thing. Halloween's coming up, and they're helping dress you up, and you get the ghosts, you get like Dracula, vampires. You know all the common kind of stuff that people do. Especially,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm talking early '80s here, folks. You think of like Stranger Things. Take yourself back to that time period. That's what I'm talking about. You know, really kind of basic stuff. And then one year, my mum came up with this really bright idea, right? Really bright idea. She decided, how about we do something completely different? And I suppose some people might say she was like way ahead of her time, right? Way ahead of her time. She decided, because there's a bigger obvious backstory going on here that we can get into, right? But she decided that the best costume for me to put on a Halloween would be for me to go from Kevin, you know what's coming, Scott, don't you? To Kevina. Yes, she made me a soy boy. She tried to make me go out as a soy boy, dude. I still, to this day, I'm damaged by that, Scott. I spent maybe an hour dressed as a woman when I was a child. And we know what it is, right? We know what it is. Obviously, my mum at the back of her mind, she'd been wanting a little girl. I get that. She didn't want, you know what it's like, dude. So she thought, I'll just have one day, I'll get to see what my little girl would have been like. And here I am, all these years later, still damaged, Scotty. Look at me. I can't handle a story about a trans person without being triggered. All these gender identities, now it makes sense. You see?
It's okay, Kev, because I was kind of traumatized in a very similar fashion one Halloween too.
It's not right.
By my mom. Yeah, it wasn't a full blown. Oh, you got a cover. Bison.
Westfist tomorrow night in there. Rave on Noi.
Awesome. And of course, Bison, you're the perfect example of my wonderful Wookiees. Not only do we have everyone chilling out over at the home of Freaky Friday in the chat room over there at tfrlive.com, but we also have people who have got two browser windows open. So you can be in two places at once. That way we still are. We have the chat room at TFR, and you've got another kind of, it's almost like an annex in the YouTube chat over here, Scott. We've kind of pimped out the virtual studio, man.
Yes, we have. And yes, like I said, I wasn't traumatized like you. My mom didn't go that far, but I was dressed as a very cute bunny rabbit.
Oh, that can be just as traumatizing.
Yeah.
We've all seen that scary gif of me with the rabbit suit on. We don't need to see that again.
It was very, very similar. Imagine a young Scott as a bunny rabbit. Was not.
Yeah. And I'm sure people out there are thinking to themselves, was there any photographic evidence of Kev as a soy boy? Oh, what memes we could make with Kev the soy boy. I swear to you now, Mother, I will never speak to you another day again if you post any of those pictures online. Yes. There's evidence, Scott. There's evidence. And you know what I think do you know what I think disturbs me more?
I'm second. I'm with you on this, Mother. No.
Yes.
Don't do it.
Yes, we are instructing our mothers right now. There could be long family kind of crisis over this if this was to get out. But I think what disturbs me even more, Scott, is the fact that I didn't look out of place with makeup and crap on, dude. What's that all about? So I think, though, this explains my levels of toxicity. I think that explains why I'm so rabidly, very, very toxic and such an eye for the ladies, to the point of probably going too far. So I blame it all on my mum. There you go. So yeah, there's that's like therapy for me, dude. I've waited like 30 years to speak about this.
Well, thank you for bringing it up because it was a therapy session for me as well. And I threw such a fit about it. I think that the next year, I went as like a 3-headed devil.
Oh, just to make up for it.
Yeah.
You thought
yeah,
I have to
something
cancel
like
out
that.
last year's kind of like soy woo. So I like it,
Yeah.
dude. You see, for me, after that, Halloween was dead, Scott. I could never enjoy that holiday again. For the weeks leading up to it, I thought to myself, oh no, she's going to dress me as a big tranny again. Oh no, I need to hide. So from that day forward, duking for apples, pumpkins, turnips, all of it, it just throws me back to that moment, that horrible moment, Scott, when I looked like something that should be reading story time in a library.
It's just another thing I think that me and you have in common. We've lived very similar lives in a lot of ways, I think. But yes.
And somebody in the TFR chat room saying on YouTube, and the one that's paid for members and Patreons, I believe that term is, nobody has to pay to get into YouTube, folks. Nobody has to pay that. Now, if you want to become a member, now that's a different thing altogether and another conversation, but no, just like TFR, all free. Absolutely. Now, Scott, we've managed to kill one segment there. Like sharing some really, really dark inner secrets, and I'm just glad. I'm glad nobody was around to hear us talking about that. Imagine if people on the internet found out about our darkest secret. Oh, wait, we are on the internet. Wah, wah, wah. You see, folks, this is how to live your life online. Have no secrets. And then nothing can come back to bite you on the bottom, Scott, right?
Yeah, might as well put it out there.
Before somebody else does, because it's going to look a whole lot worse if you didn't speak about it first, right?
Exactly.
You see, imagine you had found out that as a child, I used to get dressed up as a little girl. And then you started putting two and two together with the fact I get triggered over all these kind of stories with misgendering. That would have seemed a totally different scenario, right? Now Scott's thinking about it. He's thinking, oh, whoa, there was some damage done in the Baker household when he was young.
Man, you felt like a woman.
oh, well, my mum, she takes it in good spirit. She's sitting laughing, and she's also sitting and looking at a photograph of me looking pretty and gorgeous. Oh, please.
I'm sure my mom will be digging up the bunny photo as well.
No, dang, dude, dang. I need to see the bunny photo. In fact, we could do like, whoa. Whoa.
Kev 4chan is working on those pictures as we speak.
Remember what I said back at the time of the 17th letter. Never believe anything that comes from 4chan, right? You see, Scott, that was me. I was laying the groundwork for this day when I was about to be exposed as a he, she in my younger years. You see? Genius, dude. Genius. So yeah, folks, don't worry. When we come back, we actually do have a plethora of stories to get into. And not only that, but we've got this cave of golden woo that Scott stumbled across that we're going to like kind of mittently drop in between topics and randomly throw in there.
Intertwine it into everything. I think that's.
And I think when we look at recent weeks weeks here on the show, one of the things that I think has been a highlight for once hasn't been the guests that I've brought onto the show. I always like to bring on the big guests, right? But it's you out there that have been the stars of the Kev Baker Show, of Freaky Friday, because we've opened the phones up more than we used to. And boy, oh boy, man, oh man, ZOZ, ZOZ, all the rest of you out there, you didn't let us down. So I think, Scott, tonight we'll bust the cobwebs off the phone line. Who are you going to call? Freaky Friday. There you go. Oh, that was genius as well, see?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
Yeah, if things start getting slow towards the end of the broadcast.
Oh,
yeah,
I've decided. We'll do it. Hour 3, they'll go on.
Gonna do it?
Yeah.
Just go. All
yeah.
right.
I want this show to become one of those shows like Clyde Lewis, like coast to coast, where people know. They know that there's going to be a designated time where it's over to them. And it's up to you, folks. You can seize that moment and you can absolutely give us that Art Bell type kind of radio where people talk about your call for years. Or you could come on and, just chill. Tell us what you think about Halloween. It's your moment. It could go one way or another. Me and Scott, we're ready to cope with that now, Scott. Old pros that we are. Yeah.
Yes. I think we can handle it.
Now, please, everyone, we're just about to go to break, but if you could do me one big, solid favour this Halloween special on Freaky Friday, hit share, tell people that they can tune in to Freaky Friday on tfrlive.com, or alternatively, on the simulcast here on the Kev Baker Show YouTube channel. We'll be right back. There we go. Yes, we've got scary music and everything, YouTube. Ooh. And of course, folks, don't think I've forgotten about my YouTube audience out there. It's just that you know how we roll when it's Freaky Friday or the Kev Baker Show. It's a TFR thing, so we like to, obviously, TFR comes first and foremost. And then at the breaks, we can lord over you lot in the chat room out there. So many of our usual listeners, Scotty. We've got, I see Renzo in there. Lisa, big thank you to Lisa. Anne in particular says thank you. Mama Shy Bull, if you're out there as well, big thank you. Kristen's in there. Yes, indeedy. We've got Guy, Tessa, Denny. Oh, Denny, a big thank you to you and Lisa, my friend. Huge. Your support is absolutely awesome. We've got John Krakow. Is it John Krieko? John Kriako. It's a cool surname. I just never know how to pronounce it. We've got Queen Goddess. I think Susie Lewis will be in there somewhere. We've got Sam Rodriguez, Roxy, Lothar, our 33rd degree friend, Scott. D Nice, how you doing, brother? Great to see you. King Sweet. Damn, Scott. It just keeps going on and on. Gary Mears, JP, Disco Duck. How are you doing? I bet you've got something sexy planned this Halloween, I would imagine, knowing you, Disco Duck. Yes. We have Lich. Scott, it's unbelievable, dude. Mammoth, there you are, all the way from down under. I thought for one moment, Scott, that we had a continent that wasn't listening to us. How dare one continent out there not listen to us? There's penguins tuning to us down at the South Pole, man.
That continent supposedly doesn't exist.
Oh, shh. Yep, shh. New Zealanders, Australians, all crisis actors. I tell you what, though, they've got a damn good rugby team, the two of them. And Australia are wicked at cricket. So are they like crisis cricketers? Damn, dude. Who knew?
Crisis rugby teams?
Does like Australia only appear on Halloween? Oh. We're only having a laugh. You know we're like Aussies. We're like Aussie people. We like to have a laugh. Like to look on the lighter side of life because, damn, things are way too serious out there now. When we go back to TFR after the break, we're going to get into some Halloween stories. We're going to start to wind up the woo this Halloween special. Yes, indeed, Mr. Scott. It's just weird without Joe tonight, right?
Yeah, it is.
You get used to Joe, man.
Yeah, not hearing Joe to chime in as it goes.
Woo. Fireballs in Chile last week, not meteorites.
Ooh, fireballs. That's like that mad. That's like that challenge that we watched as well on one of the streams, Scott, right? Where the guy set fire to his nads. Fireballs there as well.
Yes, yeah. We did kind of touch on that and cover it. Those fireballs that came down in Chile and started fires on the ground, and they couldn't determine what it was.
Goodness gracious, great fireballs, great Wookiee fireballs of fiery things. Here we go, Scott. Get ready with the Wookiee. I'm going to burn him in the nads right now, right? I'm going to get the hot poker right in the nads. Shh. Welcome back, all you hardcore Wookiees out there. I want to thank you all for tuning in to Freaky Friday right here on TFRlive.com, Truth Frequency Radio, where we offer you protection from deception. Scotty, it is that Halloween show, so we're going to start, getting into that type of story right now. I found some things that we could look at here. One easy way to kick it off, and you know how sometimes on my daytime stream I like to give out useless dating advice. Well, this Halloween, being a parent, the expert that I am, father of the year and all that, I thought, I could offer some of my pearls of wisdom to anyone looking for one of those last minute kind of costume ideas. You know how I roll like that, Scott? Always got something like that on hand, So, if you are struggling and you're looking at Johnny and you're thinking, damn, is the only option I've got to make him like soy Johnny, don't do it. Look at me.
Yeah, so let's say pro tip. Don't turn him into the opposite gender.
You'll end up something very toxic like me. So it says here, easy and also adorable last minute Halloween costumes for kids and babies. Babies? You see, you can't take a baby out on Halloween, Scott. When did that become a thing? That's ridiculous. Listen, there's like unwritten rules about Halloween. I don't care what's changed over the years, but you got to, if you're going to go out guising, as we call it over here, right? You're dressing up and you're going round trick or treating, like you guys call it over there. There's like things you've got to do, dude. And I think at least one thing you have to do is at least be able to talk for yourself, to at least tell a joke or sing a song. You can't just be going about pushed by some greedy parent that's looking for a bag of candy, pimping out their child.
You got to be able to at least I would say the threshold would be like a toddler, right? You got to be able to at least like go up to the door and knock on it and say trick or treat.
Yeah, man. If not, you're just like some greedy parent using your kid as a shield. Yeah, that's a really low way of getting yourself some free candy.
At that point, it's really the parent trick or treating, and then just like holding the baby up. Look at how he's.
And let's
dressed.
face it, dude, the kid's that young. That's why this is an issue anyway. That it's never going to remember. You're not going to traumatize it the way I was traumatized by my mum when she put makeup on me and things. The baby's going to get over it. We're not going to ruin Halloween for the baby if you say, "Oh, Dad, sling your hook, mate." That's wrong. I mean, you can't go doing things like this. There's things you can and can't do, and that's one of them. Now, if you're a single dad, now it's perfectly fine to use this very same baby as maybe bait when you're going out looking for the opposite sex. I get that. I'm only joking, folks. I'm not that damaged. Honestly, I'm not. So it says here, right? So that's Kevin Scott's like Halloween tips. That's sage advice right there. It's no less than a week until Halloween, and you don't have a costume for your kid yet. It's okay. No shaming here. Life is hectic. Truth is, there are many amazing costumes that you can create with stuff lying around your house or with a quick trip to the dollar store. But remember the long-term life effects you can have on your children, folks. I'm telling you, not that I'm scarred now much. We scoured the internet to find the cutest, most adorable, did we mention easy, DIY kids costumes. So, take a breath, Scott. It's all going to be just fine. Here are those last-minute Halloween costumes for kids. Now, here's one right away that I have never heard of before. Rosie the Riveter.
What? Who's Rosie the Riveter?
Who is Rosie the Riveter? Exactly. Because we all know that girls can do it. All this costume requires is some.
Rosie the Riveter is the. I think she's the propaganda poster from back in the day. Remember the woman holding her arm up? We can do it.
All right. So, how about we could have like Greta the Complainer?
Greta the Complainer.
Have you seen what Greta's going out as this Halloween? Story here from the Sky News. A new beetle has been named after climate activist Greta Thunberg. Lies. Fake news. She was just seen trying on her Halloween costume. She's going out as a cockroach this year. Yes, because she thinks it might be the only thing that lasts longer than all of us. Yeah. Scott's lost for words because he's thinking, hang on, which one's the cockroach and which one's Greta? I know, I got lost on that as well, dude. They look alike.
I was about
How
to say.
dare you? How dare you, Scott? How dare you?
I was thinking of saying something, but I don't know if we want to keep this monetized. Or
Nah,
not,
it's okay. We'll move on. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, let's move on.
So you could go out as a black cat. Now, I can tell you in all of the years before that damaging episode I had, Scott, I never seen anybody dressed as a black cat on Halloween. You ever seen anyone dressed as a black cat?
No.
No?
I
Anyone over there in the Jabberwocky enclosure? Anyone seen black cats? I'm not talking like a black cat. I'm talking like you go out as a meow. I haven't seen that. I've not seen that. It's got to be some kind of bad luck involved with that. You know, so what happens when you cross in front of people? Do they get like bad luck because a black cat went in front of them? Oh, that's going to be a confusing night.
What do you do? Just like wear a black onesie and then like some cat ears?
I tell you, if I ever see anyone with like drawn on whiskers as some kind of lame excuse as a Halloween costume, no. Nah, they're never getting an invite again. That's a lame one. A pumpkin. Not very original, but I have seen it. I mean, yeah.
The pumpkin thing, that's for more like what I was saying, the toddlers.
Yep.
But I've never seen like an adult or older kids as a pumpkin.
Ghost.
Kind of.
It's a classic. You know, anyone can go as the ghost. Get a sheet, throw the sheet on. I know, very basic, but still, it's a classic. You can't hate on people for going as the classic ghost.
Yeah, and you got to be careful that the top, the head part's not too pointy, or you might get confused with something else. So.
You see, this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. And I'm going to drop a link over there at TFR. Check that out if you're in the TFR chat room, folks. And it's at USA Today. But they're talking about a cactus. And they've got a young child, I'd say under 6 months old, lying there in a green hoodie with, like, it looks like, I don't know, albino kind of Watsits, cheesy Watsits stuck to its like jumper, and it's meant to look like a cat. It doesn't even look like a cactus, Scott.
To say, it don't even look like a cactus. Come on.
No.
I understand like this supposedly being last minute sort of ideas, but this is a little ridiculous.
Oh, it's getting, come on. That's not a thing. So Chips and Joanna Gaines. Now we're showing our age. This must be a couple of characters out of something we don't know about, Scott. Damn, now we feel old. Could the they're a home renovation couple? Who the hell goes out as a home renovation couple at Halloween?
These are so ridiculous.
But I don't get it, man. What are we going to dress up as this year? Oh, how about we dress up as one of those dudes that fixes up homes? What? Damn. Good. See, I'm glad I don't go out anymore on Halloween. A spider? When have you ever seen anyone dressed up as a spider? No.
I don't know what to say, man.
Grapes? No. No. Nobody's ever dressed up. What party is this person going to? I don't think this is a Halloween party, Scott. I really don't.
Whoever put this together, what is this? USA Today?
USA Today, man. This is like your place.
They, I don't know. USA Today. These are pretty.
Lame, Scott. Say it how it is, man. This is lame.
It's lame. It's lame. I think people can be a lot more creative.
Big time. Three blind mice. So now we've got the three blind mice. All you need here is three things. Oh, my word. How stupid do they think we are? Did you think that the reader would automatically think that the one kid was going out as like three blind mice? Dang. So you need three kids, Scott, just in case you hadn't noticed that. You need mice ears and sunglasses. So you know the nursery rhyme, right? Done, done, and done. What age group? How stupid do they actually think people are to begin with? And how many people have gone or are probably thinking, oh, I'm so glad USA Today published this. I was stuck for ideas because, I mean, I would never have thought I was going out as a gingerbread on Halloween. What?
Star Dreamer in the chat. The easiest and cheapest costume is a tinfoil hat, and you can go out as a conspiracy theorist.
That would be all right.
Yeah, I mean, simple, kind of clever.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
Gingerbread. Oh my god, that does not look like gingerbread. That picture is ridiculous. That looks like a robot. Looks like a Minecraft character.
Can I add, it also looks like another adult disguised as a child going out to get free candy.
Wow.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not at all. Bob Ross.
Okay. Bob Ross. Okay.
Oh, I've seen it all now, though. I've seen it all now. Maybe you could go out dressed as an emoji. Happy face, pile of poo. For the tech-savvy kids, you can create all sorts of emojis out of just a plain yellow shirt. Tongue-out emoji, heart eyes emoji. Yeah, we got the idea when you told us the emojis could do that.
Hilarious. Scotty and Kev, the Halloween fashionistas.
Yes, indeedy, man. If we're saying it's not going down, I'm telling you, girlfriend. I'm telling you this. Don't be wearing it. No. So it says here, switch that yellow for brown for a fan favourite, smiling poop emoji. See, even the person writing this felt the need to go full poop. They went full poop early. Yes, a shark. Okay. It's different. Made out of an Amazon Prime box. It's a Prime shark, right? Big time, yeah. So yeah, thankfully we've got to the end of that. I would actually categorise as entirely useless Halloween tips, Scott. Come on, what would be something cool, right? What would be something cool we could tell people to dress up as this Halloween?
Well, like last minute, like if they just decided, oh crap, I guess I'm gonna go ahead and go do something for Halloween. I mean, first of all, I think you should probably do a little planning in advance. You know, who's really just like at the last minute deciding that they're
Yeah, this isn't something you can just throw together an hour before the party. No, girlfriend. You need to put some planning into this. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You get the girls together the week before, you know. Indeedy.
I don't know. I really
How about a can of my favourite drink? And no, I'm still not sponsored by them, so don't think that, folks. You could go out as a can of Red Bull. There you go. Not impressed, Scott? No? No?
Yeah. I still think for just a quick, I'm gonna have to refer to the chat. I think the tinfoil hat, just in a last minute pinch, just wrap some tinfoil around your head and I think you're good to go. You can be like, oh, I'm a conspiracy theorist.
How about a Stargate? Right. Hey, dude, go with me on this, right? We've all seen the TV show Stargate, right? You see, you get something big and round to go around the front of you. You get another one on the back. You draw both sides with like kind of the watery effect. Two wee holes for you to look out of, and you look like a walking Stargate, dude. And nobody's gone out as a Stargate on Halloween, right? I didn't take it too far, Ann. You should have seen the stuff that I rejected before I got to the Stargate idea. That would have been too far. See where I'm going with this, Scott? And of course, if all else fails, you could just don a full size, full body length traffic cone.
Yeah, see, I was gonna mention the traffic cone, you know. But how many people would get it? You know?
What transvestite doll we had on?
Did you know a flat?
No. Right. I know. We could go out as that human 20 years in the future. Remember the one that Sky News had? The hunchback thing?
Ah,
See?
okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's another story we can get into. I'll need to dig it up for later. But yeah, that would be something to go out as. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think the conspiracy theorists would be quite... Dog man.
Dogman is very vogue this year.
Dogman is very vogue with you every single day of the year, Chuck Bam Bam. Did you, Chuck, can I ask you, did somebody try to dress you as the Dogman when you were like in your formative years? The same as somebody tried to make me a soy boy. Is that what's like stuck with you throughout life? Is that why you see dogmen everywhere? You know the way I see trannies everywhere. So is that why you see dogmen? I get it now. I take it all back, Bam Bam. And Lothar, now it makes sense. Somebody tried to send you out as like the Masonic pillars or some kind of black and white floor. I have no idea. You see, we've all been damaged by somebody at Halloween, folks. Halloween lives matter. These things ain't just for Halloween. They can have long term. Scott, what the hell am I talking about, man? How did we get here? But I know where we can go. I know where we can go, and it's flawless. It's like almost we planned this. It's like Brian decided, you know what? Me and Chuck Bam, we know you're going to segue to something new now. So the Dog Man, quite commonly spoke of cryptid, at least in recent times on this show. But we can look at the 16 cryptids that may or may not exist. So, Scott, before we dive into this, what kind of characters are we expecting to see here? Undoubtedly the Bigfoot.
Yeah, I think we're definitely going to have Bigfoot. I think we're going to
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra. I think we're going to have like a kraken or
Definitely.
some kind of a sea creature, sea beast. Probably Nessie. And then from that point, I don't know. Maybe Dogman's going to be in there. Maybe some Mothman.
Montauk Monster, maybe?
Montauk Monster.
Shadow Man?
Is he really considered a cryptid?
I don't know, though. I don't know. Did you mention
I think
Slender Man?
normal.
See, it depends on how people are categorizing these things. Let's take a little look, shall we?
Let's see what's going on.
Number one. I'll trust some crazy guy to appear there. So it says here, I'll get that off the screen. Cryptozoology is the study of creatures whose existence is yet to be, or else cannot entirely be, proven or disproved by science. Now, these creatures, known collectively as cryptids, include examples like the Loch Ness Monster, Bigfoot, and the Himalayan Yeti. Well, Bigfoot and the Himalayan Yeti, they're the same thing, right? Yet these famous cases are by no means the only ones on record. In fact, practically every country and corner of the globe, there's no corners on a globe, has its own legendary monster or creature that supposedly dwells there, from giant bats in Java to enormous waterhounds in Ireland. Are we ready to dial up the woo, ladies and gentlemen? Because for this, I think, Scott, this deserves some of our atmospherics in the background. Yes, can we tempt you into a walk down the woods with me and Scott? So first up, the Ahool. AHOOL. Ever heard of this one, Scott?
The Ahool or
The
Ahool?
Ahool? Ahua?
No, I've never heard of this one. So,
Unless they're really trying to confuse me, I'm going to go with a bat-type creature. Okay, so it says here, Ahools. It sounds like some kind of Hawaiian dance or something. Ahua.
very, very close if you was to add like 2 S's. You know. I don't know. Let's see what these guys are all about.
They're enormous carnivorous bats and are said to inhabit the rainforests of Java in Indonesia. Now, believed to have a wingspan, holy moly, in excess of 10 feet, making them roughly the size of a condor. ahouls are said to be covered in thick brown or black fur, like fruit bats. But unlike bats, have long, powerful legs and claws, and are supposedly capable of pouncing on and snatching up live prey. Oh, including humans, if the stories are to be believed, from open ground. So sightings of ahouls are often dismissed simply as mistaken glimpses of owls, eagles, and other large birds of prey that inhabit the same rainforests. But some sources claim that the creatures do indeed exist, and may even be an isolated, as yet undiscovered species descended from the pterosaurs. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
pterosaurs.
There you go. So it's a descendant of the old pterodactyl, dude.
Mm.
I listen. This is the first time I've heard of them, but on
Yeah.
the face of it, why not?
There's a lot of species that haven't been discovered, and we're talking about Indonesia, jungle areas, and isolated islands. Because Indonesia is just like sporadic islands that are kind of pockmarked all over the Pacific Ocean, right? And um, yeah, I definitely am open to the possibility of some unknown species out there. So, very interesting. Yeah,
Big
I've
time.
never heard of these.
Well, the next one I haven't heard of either, Scotty. It's the Akorukamai. Akor Okamai. Akurakamai? Yeah, Okurakamai. That sounds good.
Yeah.
We'll go with that. Akurakamai. Kuramakarai. The native Ainu people of Japan have long believed that Volcano Bay off the south coast of Hokkaido is home to an enormous octopus called Akurakami. Numerous sightings of the creature, can we just call it the Kraken, please? Numerous sightings of the creature have been made over the years. British missionary named John Batchelor, who was working on Hokkaido in the early 1900s, recorded one such sighting in his book, The Ainu and Their Folklore, writing that, quote, a great sea monster with large, staring eyes had a talk with them? No, they attacked 3 local fishermen and their boat. The monster was round in shape and emitted a dark fluid and noxious odour. Now, the 3 men fled in dismay, not so much indeed for fear, they say, but on account of the dreadful smell. However that may have been, they were so scared that the next morning all 3 refused to get up and eat, and they were lying in their beds, pale and trembling.
Very interesting. It sounds like, could we be dealing with a giant squid? Sounds like it. If it emitted a dark fluid, it would be like a squid injecting ink.
Yep.
What I also find interesting is, you were just on Clyde Lewis's show.
Oh, yes, indeed, I was, my good friend. Thank you for that shameless plug. Thank you, sir.
Yes. And I was listening into that show, and remember there was a caller who called in who was off the coast of Japan.
What ship
right?
was it? Was it the New Jersey? Was it?
Oh, I can't remember right now what ship it was. But they were in the Navy, right? And they were heading to Japan to assist with Fukushima. Just assist because of the earthquake and everything, and Fukushima and all that stuff. But he was speaking of an experience they had on the ship where they saw a large sea creature that he thought it was a squid, right? But he said like the head of it was 60 feet long?
Yep. 60 feet, dude.
And a 60-foot squid, and he said it was dead.
Because they came up on it thinking that it was actually a capsized boat. They thought they were looking at the hull of a boat.
So you got to wonder, did they see what this what the Japanese have witnessed and what they refer to as this Akorokumai or whatever.
Same ballpark. Certainly sounds very similar. And yeah, folks,
Yeah.
if you want to check that out, Clyde's show, he carries all his archives over on SoundCloud. Absolutely free. Head on over to soundcloud.com and look for Ground Zero Media. And I was in one called oh, good timing there. Monster. And Scott, remember we had a laugh the last time I was on with Clyde and I was talking about the Kelpies. And I said to you and Joe, I'm telling you, the last thing I want to become is that guy. That guy that people go to anytime something happens in Loch Ness. I've become that guy, dude. I've become the thing I didn't want to be. Join me after the break to find out more about this very, very, wearing my heart on my sleeve Kev Baker episode of Freaky Friday. Yeah, dude, I've become that guy. We tempted fate, man. I suppose there's worse things that I could be known for. Probably a lot worse things that I could be known for, actually.
It was destiny, Kev.
It was, wasn't it?
Just it was meant to be. It was bound to happen. There was no escaping it. You know.
Somebody had said to me during my misspent youth, all of those cold winter nights spent, wasted down at the mouth of Loch Ness, somebody said, Kev, 20 years from now, you're going to be living down in Glasgow. 30 years it would have been. From now, you'll be living in Glasgow, you'll have a podcast, you'll be talking to thousands of people around the world about Loch Ness Monster. And I said, pass me that joint, you maniac. Do you know what I mean? Come on, man.
You can't do a show where you get into these topics
without talking about Nessie.
Without talking about Nessie, and then, being from the area and living at the mouth of Loch Ness. I mean,
being that guy.
You're the guy. You're just the guy, Kev.
Geography screwed me, man. It's the universe. See that? The universe placed me at ground zero for Scottish woo. I was always going to end up doing this, Scott.
And then it ended up placing you at ground zero with Clyde Lewis.
Yeah. Somebody says this is better than TV. Thank you very much. I take that as a high compliment, Mr. Scott.
Yes, I really, I would really hope that this is better than TV because.
Fix the hair, It's getting cut tomorrow, folks. Don't worry. I know I look like an absolute Jake ball, but it's okay. It's getting cut tomorrow.
I have no hair to fix, my friend.
My son tells me I really should keep this hair as long as I can because every cut is one closer to the last one I get. He's convinced I'm going bald. I ain't going bald, man.
I'm not one of those guys that worries about hair loss.
Am I? As long as I've got the accent, we're jamming, man. Don't take the accent away.
I notice a lot of guys, they get real self-conscious and they bugs them and they try to get those hair transplants and all that stuff. I'm like, dude, just let it go, man. Go.
Exactly. It's like, I know we laugh and we joke about the man pond type thing, but yet there's makeup ranges for dudes and things out there, man. There's hetero dudes wearing makeup, Scott. What the hell's going on, man? You see, this takes me back to these issues I've got. See, randomly come up with these subjects because you disturbed me, mother. I'm telling you, man.
Well, Pearl, you've damaged him.
And imagine you done that nowadays, though, Scott. Somebody would see that on Halloween, and by Christmas, you'd be on hormone blockers. They'd be like, snap him up, get him, her, it. What do you identify as? Ah, damn, I'm confused. Man! We're getting ready to go back to the mothership, folks. Yes, indeed. And we've got lots more cryptids to come. And maybe I think Scott will do 2 more cryptids. And then how about you give us a story from your cave of woo? How's that sound, dude?
Sounds good.
Then we can break it up, and we've still got 1 hour to go before we open the phones. Get ready with the Wookiee, Scott. Here we go. One hour down, 2 hours to go. And don't forget though, folks, it doesn't stop here. When Freaky Friday goes off air, what we do is we run out of the virtual studio, and in the background, the portal opens up. What portal? I imagine you're saying right now, well, it's the paranormal portal, of course. And that is Brent Thomas. He will be live right after Freaky Friday. And get this, Scott. Paranormal Portal, right, is number 26 on iTunes under the category of Natural Sciences.
Wow. Excellent. Yes. Good
Big shout
job,
out.
Brent.
Yes.
Big shout out, man.
Big shout out indeed. I like that. And folks, if you haven't checked out Brent, definitely you need to. If you're into Freaky Friday, it's a no-brainer. It's like the two shows, they flawlessly go together, Scott.
Yeah, we're like the warm-up act.
Yeah,
for the
big time.
Portal, dude.
Big time, dude.
And if you're not sticking around and listening to Brent, you're missing out on some, man, if you're into the woo, he takes it to like the next level, and especially the paranormal. I mean, Brent, he takes the dial and just snaps it off, man. There is no.
He's savage, man. He takes that dial and rips it clean off. It's out of there, dude. What dial? There's no dial left to touch when Brent's on. So, folks, stay tuned. That's the moral of this crazy story that myself and Scott have got embroiled in. Please stay tuned on tfrlive.com. And you can find Brent Thomas, the Paranormal Portal, and Brent also simulcasts as well. Paranormal Portal on YouTube. So then, Scott, I'm thinking maybe one or two more cryptids. We were talking cryptids, right? And then you're going to take us to this new space of yours, not the safe space, the woo space.
Yes.
Indeed.
I will just randomly pick something out of the grab bag.
Awesome. So I'll give us two more of these bad boys in here. And so far, it's two things I haven't known, and it's getting steadily harder to pronounce these things the further down I go. I'm panicking, Scott.
Yeah, these are weird. Though.
Okay, so now we've got Alta Maha. Ha ha ha. There's nothing laughing matter if this thing gets a hold of you. So then, what are we talking about here? The Alta Maha. It's a 20 to 30 foot long river monster with large flippers and a seal-like snout that is said to inhabit the mouth of the Altamaha River near Darien, Georgia. So although numerous accounts of sightings of the Altamaha have apparently been made over the years, the fact that Darien was founded as, oh my word, New Inverness by a band of Scottish Highlanders in 1736 seems to suggest that the legend is probably nothing more than a descendant of the Scots settlers' tales of the Loch Ness Monster. I've got a wee tear in my eye, man. My ancestors out there, setting up the woo hundreds of years ago, Scott. Oh, God. I'm so proud.
They went down there, they settled, and they said, you know what? We need Nessie down here. We need some woo.
We need some woo, man. You can take a Scotsman out of the Highlands, right? But you can't take the Highlands out the Scotsman. So he takes woo with him everywhere. You see?
Yeah, the Scots have been known to peddle woo.
Yeah. Yeah.
Quite well.
We are the peddlers of woo. So one more, and then we'll get Scott in the Wookiee cave. So this one is called Dobhar Coo. Now this sounds like something Welsh. It's looking Welsh or Gaelic or something. That looks terrifying. And what I'm looking at here for radio viewers is it's like the mouth of an eel, and then the teeth of like Count Dracula. And it's almost like I don't know, man. It's got fangs. It's horrible. It says here the Dobhar Coo, or waterhound. It's Irish. is a legendary otter-like animal that supposedly lives in isolated freshwater loughs and rivers in Ireland. Now, usually described as a half-dog, half-fish hybrid with a long snaking body covered in thick fur, the Dober Chew, or the Dober Coo, probably nothing like what it's meant to be, right? Is large and heavy set, but can move both or fast both in the water and on land. Even according to one story, being able to keep up with a galloping horse. Now, sightings of the creature date back several centuries in Ireland, and there are at least 2 gravestones, including one in County Leitrim, dating back as far as 1722, of people who were reportedly attacked and killed by the Dober Chew.
You don't want to be that guy that was attacked and killed by an otter. You know.
Dude, have you ever heard of this before?
No, I haven't heard of any of these so far.
And not only that, but somebody like their gravestone says that's the way they died. That's
Wow.
intense.
That
Nice
is
timing
intense.
there. Nice timing with the lightning as well. I like that. Yeah, that's too weird, man.
That's wild.
Right, we'll go to Scott now then. Come on in, Scotty. Give us a scary story.
Let's see what we got in the grab bag here. Oh man, we have so much. Okay, well let's just go with this. Let me drop this in for you so you can pull it up, because okay, there we go.
Okay, I've got it. Let's do it, man.
Got weird encounters with mysterious black blob entities.
Oh, come on. You've got to be kidding me. The black blob? What's the
Yes.
goo been up to? What is the goo been up to? Take it away, Scott. Come on, man.
Let me shift my tabs here so I can read this comfortably. My computer's not cooperating, so whatever. We'll just
It's the
wing it.
Halloween. It's the Ooga Boogas, man.
Yes, it is. It says, within the world of ghosts, spirits, and the paranormal, there seem to be many types of disparate phenomena. We have ghosts, demons, poltergeists, wraiths, shadow people, spirit attachments, and a hodgepodge of all matter of weirdness, all seeming to have their own permutations and existing as a subspecies of the weird. Yet occasionally there are other phenomena that don't seem to really fit into the current categories of the odd and inhabit their own bizarre realm of the unexplained. Such must certainly be the case with various blob or orb-like entities that seem to appear from time to time. And while rarer than some of the other paranormal phenomena out there, they are just as incredibly strange. Yeah, these are weird. I guess this would, I would say we are now in the realm of orbs and ectoplasm.
Yep.
Would you say?
I would say so, Scott. Big time. And orbs are still something that I've got no conclusive kind of explanation for. I get sometimes it definitely is dust particles, but not all the time. And then there's those ones you can see through them and they're almost morphing. I don't know, dude, but very interesting. It's almost as if that's like the stage before or one of the stages closer to us being able to see them in our realm, you know?
Yes, exactly. Continuing on here, it says, in many cases, these dark blobs are seen lurking in people's residences, much like a ghost, but unique and strange enough to possibly be classified as something else. One such witness is Reddit user Radioactive Panda Bear, who
Nice.
claims that, yes, nice name, who claims that her experience with these entities began when she moved to a new city to live in a house with some friends. It began with her seeing shadows that darted about at all hours in several different areas of the apartment, usually between the hours of dusk and 10 p.m., and appearing as pitch black, blob like shapes, ever shifting. Although they would occasionally take more humanoid forms, these blobs would get bolder as time went on, sometimes buzzing or fluttering about her like moths around a flame, or approaching her as if curious. And she claims that both of the housemates saw them as well. She says of these strange entities, "I've seen my dog react to them, so that put to rest for me any consideration the entire phenomena itself is a figment of my imagination. My cats used to chase the smaller cat-sized shadow blobs that dart around here. Maybe they still do. But I now largely keep the cats confined to 2 rooms of the house while we remodel, so I have not been keeping track of their reactions lately. I mostly perceive the blobs either peripherally. Sometimes I get to see them almost straight on, yet I can't quite seem to focus somehow because they move just fast enough to stay out of the direct center of my vision. My roommate asked me tonight if there is any way to get rid of them. It's strange because I have never had any bad vibes or feelings, and I can usually pick up on when something is being aggressive spiritually. But this just feels different. There's no feeling at all, no getting the chills or getting goosebumps, so I'm really not sure what they are." Very interesting.
Now, Scott, I'm not sure. Some people are saying your audio's low. I think you sound just normal. Some people are saying it's okay, but I don't know, because some people are saying it's like ASMR.
No, my levels are.
You look okay when you're coming in this end on the audio levels, I must admit.
I don't want to accidentally overdrive something, so I don't know if it's on the YouTube end or something, but
Possibly. It looks, yeah, it's in the yellow, so it's good to go.
yeah, yeah. Sorry guys if it's low. I mean, I don't want to boost it up anymore because it's gonna blow everything out on Kev's end, I think.
Exactly. You'll blow my eardrums out, Scott.
But I'll try to speak louder into the microphone or something. Okay, so it says, "It is interesting to note how this witness says that there was no negative or insidious feeling emanating from there, because on more occasions than not, these black blob entities are not seen as particularly friendly or innocuous, but rather threatening and sometimes even downright evil. There is also the account by Reddit user Ignis Fatus,
Another great
who
name.
gives another great name, who gives an account from a friend of his who seems to have been plagued by a strange black dot that is roaming about his house, appearing on walls, the ceiling, and even the bathroom. It is described as ranging in size from a quarter to around the size of a baseball, and as looking like just a sheer black ball, blob, or mist, always producing an unsettling feeling of unease. The witness says of the strange phenomenon, "The first time I saw it, I was walking out of my bedroom into the living room. All of my walls are painted white and I don't have anything really on them. I have one painting on the wall next to my front door, but that's it. Point being that it really stands out when I see it, but usually the minute I notice it, it is gone. Only once I have seen it straight on, and that was about 3 nights ago. I got up early in the morning, probably 5 or 6 a.m., to use the restroom, opened my door, and went into the bathroom. That is right next to my room. I did not turn the light on, as there is usually enough light from the street lamps outside my house shining into my room and into the short hallway where the bathroom is. Without lifting the seat, I started going and finished up. My eyes were closed the whole time, and when I was done, I looked down to flush, and there it was, on the middle left side of my toilet seat. I yelled, expletive, and jumped back, now wide awake with my heart pounding, but it was gone. This time, though, I actually saw it move, and it was amazingly fast. It's not an animal. It's not an insect, like a roach or anything. My house is very clean. I don't have bugs. I don't own any pets, and I live alone. It's not shiny, but it's not see-through, and it appears to be perfectly round. I even tried Googling to see if maybe anyone else had experienced this or if there was any explanation for it and found nothing. I have friends who are into the unexplained, and some have suggested that I am hallucinating, that it could be high EMF in my house or a gas leak or something. But my brother is in construction and I couldn't find anything when he came over to check my house. Everything checked out normal. I don't know whether to be afraid or not. I just simply do not know what this thing is. But I have seen it 5 times for sure, and maybe a few other times. But like I said, sometimes it is out of the corner of my eye, so it could be anything. I even went and got my eyes checked. The doctor said I have 20/20 vision.
I shat myself. Oh.
It says, so I'm not seeing those kinds of spots. Whatever this is or these are, they are physically in my house.
And to me, Scott, I would suggest that perhaps listening to this, I think this is these little orby type blobby things. I think it's evidence that you've got the ooga boogas. But there's a thinning of said veil in there somewhere. There's like some kind of nexus, some crossing point between your world and the next. That's just my own personal kind of feeling on it, dude. There's like various forms of manifestation, orbs, black blobs, ectoplasm, and then bada bing, bada boom, full ooga booga in the room. Know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think these are things that are phasing into our reality, right? Like phasing into our dimension. Um, we just can't explain what they are. I do find it interesting though how, like the first story, there was no feeling of unease or anything that you would associate with like shadow dude or shadow people, where there's usually like this feeling of being terrified or something like that. It just seemed like this neutral thing that the person was just witnessing, and it wasn't like good or bad either way. It was just there. But this one with this dot, I believe the guy said that it kind of made him feel uneasy. Of course, I would just feel uneasy in general if I was seeing something that I couldn't explain. You know what I mean? Like if just like this weird black dot was showing up and you didn't know what the hell it was. Yeah, that would kind of just freak me out just in general. So I don't
Big
know.
time, yeah, big time, man.
Yeah. So continuing on here, it says, on your ghost stories, there is a report of a dark blob mass appearing on the ceiling of the witness as she was talking with her sister in their home one evening. She says that as they are chatting away, they noticed a black shape sort of flowing across the ceiling to congeal in a corner.
Oh, that sounds like. See, when we watched The Shadow, dude, and it kind of like came in a kind of liquid kind of form, and it just whoosh, under the bed, and when it went out the window, that's what this sounds like here, man. It's just scooting across the roof.
Mm-hmm.
Ooga Booga House.
Yes. In which they soon realize was not just a normal shadow. The witness says, as we were talking, I noticed this black shape on the ceiling. I actually really did not think anything about it, though, until I shifted my eyes up. it started to bother me, but I immediately thought that it was the shadow of my fan or TV. So I poked my sister, and we both agreed we would find out what the blob thing was. We started moving. We started moving this quietly as my mom was sleeping next door. I moved the fan, the blob stayed. I moved the TV, the blob stayed. Basically, we moved everything except my damn bed. Me and my sister looked at each other and ran into the bed. It was hilarious at the time, but now that I think about it, it creeps me out. So after seeing the blob shift towards the other corner, I actually got really scared. I prayed like a damn nun, and so did my sister. Then I couldn't believe it. A white blob showed up, and the dark blob disappeared.
Oh, oh, I think this is the precursor to black blob becomes shadow dude. I'm telling you, man, this is like one step away from just in and out the window, Scott.
Yeah, this is some wild stuff. So maybe it was a negative entity, and maybe see, there we go with the whole prayer thing again.
Yep.
Remember, we as soon as someone invokes some prayer, or maybe
I don't care exactly, and that's what I would say to anyone. I don't care what your belief is; it doesn't matter, because in these varying accounts that span across great periods of time, take it for what it's worth. This seems to be the common thing that gets rid of these things, right? It just seems to work.
Yeah, whether it be some kind of frequency being invoked by just saying something, you know what I mean? I mean,
yeah. I get that. And I mean, if people are more comfortable with the frequency thing than going the full kind of Christianity road, I'm happy. Listen, at the end of the day, it works. Whatever's happening there's definitely great power in it. That's what I would say anyway, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It doesn't really matter like what you believe or anything. The fact is that it just seems like every time some kind of a prayer is being invoked, it has an effect. So
it's just an interesting factoid. Make of it what you will.
Make of it what you will. So continuing on here, I know we got break coming up here in
that's okay, because we'll get far down and we can come back and I'll give you a rest. I'll take the rest of the story or whatever after the break, Scott. We've got plenty of time. We're only halfway through.
Yes. So another even more menacing report. Ooh. These menacing ones always.
I like that. It's always good when you get a menacing report.
Yes. And the crack of thunder to go with it too.
The Kraken thunder.
Oh, Kraken thunder. Yes. Another even more menacing report comes from a Reddit user who says that both he and his wife has seen a bizarre blob-like entity in their bedroom that he feels might have been watching them or even coiled in wait to attack them. It began when he woke up in the middle of the night to see what seemed like a large, amorphous black mass like a cloud, and he explains, "Me and my wife were in bed. Above me, we were practically blanketed by what I would describe as a very dark black cloud or a mist. I pointed at it."
Now, hold on, Scott. Now, hold on. Does this not sound very much like what Joe's Angela was talking about? Remember Joe was talking about the dark energy, dark matter last week, and that kind of dark, misty form taking shape?
Yeah, it does sound very similar. Yeah, you're good point.
Big time.
Yeah. He says, "I pointed at it, almost touching it. As I did this thing practically jerked away from my hand. It looked like it was forming rolling black clouds and ascending up to the ceiling. I quickly shook up my wife, saying, 'Do you see it? Do you see it?' She woke up and stared at this thing. It went all the way up to the ceiling where it dissipated through the ceiling. It looked like it just went straight through it. the whole experience lasted about 25 seconds. I asked my wife what she saw. She described exactly what I had seen. I did not give her any details at all to what I had seen. Again, this thing was very, very dark. It looked like some kind of black cloud formation. It did not look like smoke. We did not smell smoke. Nothing was burning. This thing reacted and moved like it was intelligent. It had been months, and I am terrified to sleep on my own. Whatever it was watching us sleep. I'm just really effing creeped out right now. Just knowing whatever it was not a hallucination. Knowing that it was watching us while we sleep. Not knowing what it's capable of. Very unnerving. My sleep is SHIT right now. Yeah, I probably wouldn't be sleeping very well either after having an experience like that.
And what perfect timing, because we're about to go to the break. And if you happen to see any of this rolling black fog going across the top of your ceiling while we're away, you've only got 3 minutes to wait, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. This very creepy Halloween special on Freaky Friday. We'll be right back. Oh, imagine that though, man. You're sitting there lying in bed and you've got like a black cloud, like black goo cloud going across your ceiling, man. I don't know, dude. That's when time slows down and shit gets very real, right? Very real.
I don't even know how I would react to something like that.
You know, somebody in the chat room, see if I can find the name here quickly. It was a great point they made. Tiger style. These kinds of things just don't happen to everyone until they happen to you. But, you know, that's the thing, because I don't think anyone ever sets out and plans, you know, to have that paranormal experience that will live with you for the rest of your life. And I get it. Some people go out and they ghost hunt and things like that, but I'm talking about one of those game changers where maybe you weren't even sitting on the fences, you know, hamster other people, bunk them, whatever. Maybe even if you're open-minded, but you still hadn't quite experienced it yourself. It's the game changer, Scott, right? It is the game changer when you land up in your own paranormal episode. That's why I say to anyone who hasn't been there, just keep an open mind and don't be too blasé. Because the way the universe works, when you do get thrust into your paranormal experience, it's going to be a good one, right?
Exactly. Well, you know, it's kind of like how you see the people who were skeptics, right? And then they end up having a UFO experience or something like that, and they're like, wow, it changes them forever. You know what I mean? Or they end up having a paranormal experience or something, and it's so beyond the realm of logic, right? Beyond the realm of just explanation that they can't deny it. They can't deny what they experienced. And you know, if you have other people who witness it with you, that just validates it even more, you know. And so it's and until you have an experience yourself, I mean,
don't knock it. That's what I say. We'll give you the winky eye up there, so people will call you the Illuminati. And I've got I've got the skeleton down here, Scott. So we're cool. We're covered, man. We're covered.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent.
We've even got dancing skeletons. Look, how cool's that, dude?
And hey, when we open up the phones later, any of you out there, if you've had any sort of black shadow dude, black blob experiences, or
that's what we
anything
want
within that realm,
oh yeah, big time.
Yeah, let us know. We had Mikhail call in one time and give us his experience with his shadow entities, and that was crazy. And hey, even if it's not shadow dudes or anything like that, just call in and let us, you know, just tell us your experiences if you had any sort of paranormal experiences, or if you've seen any cryptids or anything along that lines. Let us know as well. Basically, if you got some good woo, hook us up.
Hook us up. Exactly,
Hook
man.
us-
We will pimp out your good woo. Big time. I don't get dancing skeletons, for goodness sake. You don't get that on every live stream. I'm telling you, folks, you guys are treated. Here we go, Scott. Back to the mothership. Da, da, da. Energize. Uh-huh. What is happening?
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Oh, boy. Hang on, folks. We've got a bit of an issue here. Scott, I'm going to hang up and call everyone again. You hang up as well. I'll do a fresh call. You hang up, then I'll hang up everything. There we go. Right, folks, stand by. We'll go back now. We'll try it again. There we go. We are live. Yes, we're back. We're back, folks. Oh, Scott. How cool is that? Things are getting Skype weird on our Halloween special. And I get it, right? Skype's weird at the best of times, but that was pretty cool. Woo.
The Skype gremlins, I think they need to add this to the cryptids that may or may not exist.
What if, right? Somewhere now, either at the TFR command center or maybe my Omen. I'm not even making that up, folks. That's the name of the HP computer I've got. The Omen. Maybe there's a black mist just circling around the equipment right now, Scott. We've summoned the blob.
Looking around my room now. check for any blob.
Scott's thinking, not in my corner of the Matrix, Kev. I'm okay. You all right? You're blobless? I'm scared to look around my room in case there is a blob there.
I've got floaters. You know what floaters are?
Yeah, dude. Yep. You see them in your eyes?
Yeah, I guess I wouldn't even know if I had black blobs floating around my room anyways.
You could be surrounded in a sea of black blobs and it would be irrelevant to you, Scott. Irrelevant.
Another day. Yeah, it'd be another day for me. So.
Yeah, reality is exactly how you decode it, folks. And if you don't decode part of it, is it even there? Who knows? But let's get back to the black blob. And I will take over from Mr. Scotty to give you a little rest, right? Because this is it.
Yes, and before you continue, would you be so kind as to share your screen? That way I can check out the chat.
Yes, Scott. I apologize, my good friend. I forgot we had a little glitch there.
No problem.
There we go. Yes, indeed. So then we were dealing with the black blob. And don't forget, folks, coming up after the break, we will be opening up the phone lines for all of you out there. Yes, indeed. You too can play your part in this very Freaky Friday, our Halloween special. We want shadow dudes. We want poltergeists. We want things that make you go, woo, in the night. Oh, yes, indeed. So then, I think we got to about here, Scott, did we?
I think we are right where it says the fact that it.
There we go then. So then, we've had them like the guy's not getting any sleep now. He's seen it rolling across his bedroom kind of ceiling. It says the fact that in these cases, so far the entities seem to move and react intelligently suggests that they are not just shadows or some sort of illusion. And it's hard to really tell what this could all mean. In some cases, these black blobs appear to behave in a decidedly more menacing way, showing that they may perhaps be malicious and out to do harm. Now, they definitely appear to be intelligent, Scott. We get that from when he reaches out and the thing reacts to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So we go on and it says, take the account given by Redditor Heroderpina.
Heroderpina.
Yeah, Heroderpina. Yeah, I like that. Not as good as the other ones we had, but who says she encountered a seemingly quite unfriendly black blob in her home as she was taking care of her kids. Now, she says that she had just put the 3 kids to bed and was doing some last-minute tending to them when she walked into the hall to be greeted by a pitch black blob hanging from the ceiling like some kind of grotesque spider. And she says When I walked out of the hallway into the common area, I immediately felt like I wasn't supposed to be there. I kept going into the kitchen, and for some reason, I looked toward the front door. Now, in the entryway, I saw a black blob hanging from the ceiling in the corner. It was definitely not a shadow. I approached it and checked it out for some stupid reason, and I could see that it was not flat against the wall like a shadow. It was roundish, almost like a cocoon, but more irregular. I could not see through it at all, but I could see irregularities in the colour. It almost looked as if it had brown spots, and it seemed to be moving just enough for me to tell that it was moving. Like a cocoon, she says. It does beg the question what may be trying to actually hatch out of said cocoon. Oh, Scotty, this is like, wow. So it says, this is bizarre. It says here, I looked around for anything to explain it, and I couldn't. Now that it's lights out, what is she, in a prison? I see even less of an explanation. Now that it's light out.
Now that it's light out.
Right, I've got it. It's my reading dyslexia, dude. It's all good. The audience are used to it by now. So it says, after I fed the baby and put her back down, I went back into our room and saw that both of our shades were opened. Now, my husband was in the room across the hall from my daughter, and I had the door open, and I would have seen him or my toddler leave. My oldest son's door was closed, and it makes a very distinct sound when it opens. We don't have a very big house, and sound carries extremely well, and I didn't hear a thing. Now, it was eerily silent. I definitely felt like I was being watched, and that whatever it was hanging on my ceiling did not want me in the room. After all of the experiences I've had, this was the first time I felt threatened. I'm concerned for my kids. The 3-year-old is autistic and has other special needs that can't tell me when something is wrong. Wow. Wow, Scotty boy.
That's pretty ominous right there.
Yeah.
Like have something hanging from the ceiling like a cocoon. That's pretty creepy. That's very disturbing.
Disturbing on a monumental scale. Big time. Yeah. It almost sounds like something out of like Stranger Things when they're in the Upside Down. You know, all the kind of dark black goo and tentacles and just out of place, man. Gross.
Yeah, just these weird dark entity creatures, it's just like, who even knows, what their reality is like and what they are. I mean,
listening to a audiobook right now. Can't remember the name of it off the top of my Aftermath, I think it's called. Doesn't matter. But it's a sci-fi one, Scott, and it talks about the various kind of levels of intelligent species they are out there in the universe. And in this book, the author, he says there's like something like 30 odd on a scale, and there's like a hierarchy. It's basically a scale of consciousness, how consciously evolved these entities are. And you've got like up until like the 5th kind of tier, very, very basic. In fact, other entities are allowed to hunt you. They're allowed to use you as a food source. But what they also do is they can use you as, it's almost like psychic sustenance. Because if they feed off the psychic energy, the electromagnetic energy that's generated by fear, then that actually helps them to evolve and mature faster up the hierarchy by absorbing the energy from that lower species. Now, this author, he's definitely onto something here, because we often talk about how these things, not in our dimension, but not in our kind of physical light spectrum as well, how they feed off us energetically.
And this is kind of a common thing you hear about, right? I mean, let's even go to what David Icke talks about.
I think you have to if you're going down this avenue, Scott.
You have to because, okay, sure, reptilians, whatever, right? but he's talking about entities that feed off the fear of people, right? And that's why they have to try to keep everyone in a lower vibration, a lower state, right? Because they feed off of it. And so this sound, this is a very similar theme. This is a very it's a very
Makes you wonder if you start to see, like, if they take more of a physical form, almost like capacitors. It's almost like they're draining energy and gaining strength. First you get the orbs, then they manifest a bit more power. They can come through as that rolling cloud, just ready to take a form, bit more energy, bada bing, bada boom, shadow people in the room.
They have to lower our vibration closer to their vibration, right?
That's what I got from Bill Bean's like childhood story, Scott. It like tormented them, divided them, like you say, to cause that frequency it wanted,
Because then if you're resonating at that same frequency, it allows them to pass through and interact more, right?
Plus it becomes harmonic. It's almost, you're almost in harmony with it.
You are, you're resonating at that same frequency, and so then they're able to interact with you and mess with you even more. I also got to point out, King Sweet in the chat said it was a Mothman cocoon.
Mothman. Don't call me Mothman. It's Mothman. Couldn't resist it, folks. I had to. But yeah, let's get back into this then, because I'm interested to see where this all goes. So it says it's rather unsettling that these entities are often sighted in the vicinity of children or babies. As if drawn to them. Yes, something we've spoken about before as well. It's almost as if that's the purest, the sweetest of energies, shall we say.
Yeah, and you got to remember children are more opened up to this stuff, and they're able to view these,
yeah, because life hasn't hammered normality into them yet.
Their minds are more open and receptive to these things, and so that could play a role in it too.
Yep. So this can be seen in a report from Above Top Secret. Oh, wow. Now, let me just say Above Top Secret before it's news. I tend to kind of laugh at these forums, but that's not to say that there isn't the odd nugget of gold and truth in there. Because there's some ridiculous, let's face it, Scott, some of the most ridiculous on these forums, okay? But that's not to say, like I mentioned, that there's not good to be had.
No, I mean there's people that go in there and share their experiences, and it's just forums, so you've
got to be very open-minded.
Yeah, and you gotta, you just gotta sift through and make a judgment on what you believe is the real deal and what's not.
Nobody said conspiracy was easy. Nobody promised that. So it says, in which a worried father tells of a black blob that he spotted apparently harassing his infant son with unknown purposes. He says of his rather disturbing experience. My son is 13 months, and because of teething, it happens frequently that he awakes in the middle of the night. I then take him with me on the couch in his room, give him half a bottle of light porridge, and try to make him sleep. Now, the day before yesterday, I fell asleep with him on the couch and woke up just before 3 a.m., hearing that he had a nightmare. Now, I softly gave him a hug and nudged him to wake up. A hug and nudged him to wake up, yeah. At that moment, in the middle of my vision, on the back of the sofa, I saw a black spot of approximately 10 to 20 centimetres leaving my son and going upwards on the back of the couch. Now, after an initial shock, I tried to simulate the shadow, but whatever I did, the shadows from me were much lighter, not the real black of the spot. Now, the room is very dark because of 2 sets of curtains, and the only light source or sources are a little night light and the light in the baby phone. This event has stayed on my mind since then. What was it? Well, what was it indeed? And yet another report, Redditor, euphoric sand, I like that, yeah, in Seattle, who claims that he was actually rather violently physically assaulted by one of these things on 2 separate occasions. Now we're starting to talk physical attacks, folks. Now we're getting into the real deal. See, that's why, Scott, you know, if say you are seeing something that's ringing a bell in this, you might dismiss it. You might think nothing else of it, but then bear in mind that it can like go on a stage or two, and then you end up in something probably we're about to hear here. And it says his report is like something out of a horror film, and describes a very aggressive black blob in a bloody, limbless rat, which seemed to have no good intentions towards him, and seemed intent on harming him harming him towards some nefarious end. It seemed prone to attacking him as he slept, and his harrowing account reads as follows. Now, I was asleep this particular night, but was suddenly awakened. When I woke, both of my arms were completely numb, and I could feel an odd thumping sensation in the inside fold of my right elbow. I looked at it, and to my astonishment, there was a dark blob there. I say attack only for lack of a better word. I'm not entirely convinced that it was an attack. The action it was performing would be best described as very blurry. Limbless rat trying to headbutt its way into my arm very rapidly. Now, I saw this and I thought, what? My mind is playing tricks on me. I then took my numb left arm and flopped it onto my numb right arm, where it was being accosted by this figment of my imagination. To my horror, it quickly leaped onto my left arm and started its pulsating headbutt attack on the same spot on my left arm. Now, this freaked me right out. I shot up out the bed like a excited Dracula, immediately on my feet from a laying position. Who shoots out of the bed like an excited Dracula, Scott? What does that exactly look like? Damn, this guy was in a panic, right?
Yeah, I get, you know, when the coffin opens and he just kind of goes, boop.
Tell you what, this demonic rat, I tell you what, right, it never accounted on Dracula being in the bed, right? So it says, by this time, I had regained some of the feelings in my arms. I was starting to transform into a werewolf and thought that rat's getting it. I'm only joking, folks. And though they were still very tingly, I had a little more use of them. Now, I started swatting the blob on my left arm with my right hand, and the damn thing actually dodged. And after a few more swat attempts, it leaped back to my right arm and did its pulsating headbutt attack on the exact same spot as it did originally. By this time, my heart felt like it was going to burst and I was freaking the hell out. I shook my body violently and managed to throw the thing off me. I lost it in the darkness as it fell and saw it no more. I spent another half hour or so awake and watchful. You bet you did. But eventually convinced myself it was nothing and went to sleep. The experience became a memory that I never forgot, but never lent much credence to. I figured it was just having I was just having some weird nightmare or hallucination. Now, that's your brain's way of saying, we ain't dealing with that. We just ain't dealing with it, Scott. There's no way we can deal with that.
Yeah, the brain is just trying to make sense of something absolutely bizarre and trying to find any reason to rationalize what it was, you know. This is almost, you know, and now we're talking a little more like the traditional kind of shadow entity attacks when people are sleeping, right? Where that they try to blame on sleep paralysis, right?
All the time.
Yeah, because his arms were numb. It seemed like he was kind of, restricted in his movement, and this thing was attacking him. But it wasn't like a humanoid shadow figure. It was more of like this small black blob that was attacking him or trying to enter his body or something. Is what it sounded like to me. Like it was, I don't know.
Well, it's strange. About to take a kind of twist in your direction, Scott, because he goes on to say, a few months later, I left Seattle and came to Kansas. I had decided to go to college, but did not want to pay huge money for undergrad. So I was staying with family for about a year until I got my own place. Now, during this year, I had yet another encounter with a dark blob. The first one in Seattle occurred in August. I don't recall the day, just the month. The following August, while staying with family in Kansas, was when the second encounter happened. So this was like a year later. That's bizarre. So again, I was sleeping. I awoke and immediately realized that something was pulsating at my neck. I knew what it was immediately when I glanced over to my left shoulder and a dark blob was doing the same pulsating headbutt attack at the side of my neck. Now, this blob was significantly larger than the year before. I immediately started swatting at my neck frantically and managed to dislodge it. I was able to see it fall onto my bed as I was already standing upright on it. I even managed to track its movements onto my floor where it ran under some clothes. I tried to follow it further and lost sight of it. I started searching under my clothes on the floor, but it was gone. That was 5 years ago this August. I have not seen it since. Dearie me. So it says, what was this thing up to? What was it trying to do? Who knows? Not all of these reports of black blob entities are confined to apartments and homes. And there have been a few things roaming around in the wild. Reddit user, Calder4, claims to have had such an encounter as he had been driving home from work across a rugged route that took him through fields and thick forests. Now, he says that at night it becomes almost impenetrably dark out on the road, and that only the faint illumination by the headlights stabbing out into the night to push the utter blackness away. On this evening, the drive would be a bit spookier than it usually was, when he had a brush with something he cannot explain. He says of this experience, "On this night, I had left work around 10:30 p.m. Work had been busy, and I was still running off in the adrenaline high from that day. It was just past 11 p.m. and I was passing the off-ramp for the airport. A slight mist was starting, which helped a few lights in the area travel further and light up the sky with a low, warm glow. It was while approaching this area that I noticed something abnormal in my line of vision. A large, black blob. At first I thought I must be tired and I was seeing black spots like you might see if you sit up too fast or look at a bright light. But I felt alert, and when I blinked, it didn't fade. In fact, instead of soft around the edges, it became more, or it seemed solid, like a three-dimensional object. I blinked dumbly for a moment, not understanding what I was seeing, but soon I started to make sense of it. It was not my eyes. That seems like such an absurd thing to have to say, but it was not my eyes. As I drive closer, it grew clearer and larger. It was the size of a refrigerator, roughly oblong, not humanoid like I've heard shadow people described as, but more, well, honestly, potato-shaped. Oh, the shadow potato. It hovered nearly 3 feet off the ground, and it was the darkest shade of black I've ever seen. And yet somehow it still managed to reflect the light of its uneven form. Its body was like a liquid fabric, rippling and quivering like slow-motion jello. Okay, now we're talking black goo.
Yeah, I was about to say, that sounds like black goo right
That's
there.
black goo right there, dude. Yep. I observed all this in a matter of moments before I was jarred from a trance-like state by the car in front of me ploughing through it. At that moment, I suddenly realized I was also about to drive into it and felt a jerk reaction to swerve. But before I pulled the wheel, its quivering grew violent and exaggerated until it collapsed in on itself. A moment before the front end of my car had the chance to even touch it. I looked back in the mirror but saw nothing. I looked around and ahead of me but saw nothing. I spent the whole ride home praying that whatever it was, it hadn't got into the car with me. Every once in a while I'd be brave and check the back seat, but saw only the shadows that normally accompany me home. I don't know what it was I saw that night, but I often find myself trying to debunk it by recreating the circumstances. I've looked for anything in the area that might explain it, stared into bright lights, etc., but nothing works. I haven't heard too many people describing black, potato-shaped jello blobs before, but if you've seen one, let me know what you think it is. And again, isn't the random and unique kind of description almost lend credence to it? Because it's not like you've heard a story like that before. I'm going to make up a black blob story. It's going to be like jello in the, in this kind of scary setting driving home. No, that's something that this guy certainly believes happened.
Yeah, and him talking about it like violently wiggling and then collapsing in on itself and disappearing. It almost sounds like that was its way of like blipping out of our reality, right? That it collapsed in and just kind of quantumly just went whoop, blipped out.
And we're about to blip out. End of hour 2. We're blipping out as we speak. Blip, blip, blip. We'll be back after 3 blippity blip, 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 blip minutes. Don't go anywhere. There we go, folks, and we're still here. Oh, yes. YouTube. I was going to say TFR Live. I'm thinking, no, we just left TFR. We're on YouTube. Yay.
Nothing like some good old black blob woo.
Goo.
This is good stuff right here, man.
Big time, man. I'm liking this. I'm definitely liking this. I think I'll get a candle on here as well, Scott. Feeling a little candle down in the corner here for our... We should really have pimped out our Halloween set beforehand. But that's okay. We roll differently, right?
What if we're dealing with shapeshifters, and this is just their natural form?
This is their quantum state, where they can be both Chupacabra, Bigfoot, Shadow Dude, Slender Man, all of the above.
Yeah, it's when they haven't decided that they're going to take any kind of form.
Yep.
They're just
when they're feeling like cryptid fluid.
Cryptid fluid.
Non-binary, Just saying, dude. Just saying. Yep. So that's just got candles now, Scott. Is 2 candles enough? Is there like a special number of candles where people will go, look at them, they're Illuminati. That's Scott Lopez. He's got an eye in the corner. Look at his eye.
You could always arrange 5 candles in a certain pattern, and
I could do that, or I could just make myself look like a clown for the rest of the show. That's pretty cool. Hey! Oh, I can't move though. I'd have to sit like that, just perfectly still, and just talk to you like that. That's pretty creepy, right?
Yeah. Hey guys.
Hey guys. Oh, we've lost it, folks. We've lost it. But when we come back after the break, we're going to open up the phones on tfrlive.com. If you want to be a part of our very special Freaky Friday, all you've got to do is, and I think we've got somebody on the line already. I've not even connected the phones yet, Scott. Dang, it's going off the charts here, man. They're burning off all the lines are ringing off the hook, Scott,
Yes. Phone lines are loaded.
We just don't have time to get these callers. Give them all a t-shirt. Here we go. I'll put it in the chat room. There you go. Put it in the TFR chat room as well. There they go. Yeah, so if you want to call in, it's pretty simple. All you do, if you're in the US, you call 213-233-3998. That's 213-233-3998. If you're in the UK and you want some happy fun time with Kev, yours truly here. All you do is you send him $5. I love you long time. No, I'm only joking. You dial 0044. What are you saying?
What number are we talking about here, Kev?
Hey, personal services, Scott. That's all I call it. Personal services, right? I might even create a new membership level, the Brown Chicken Brown Cow VIP level, where what happens at that level definitely stays at that level. But if you want to call in, folks, from the UK, it's going to be 0044 203 393 2871. That's 0044203 393-2871. And I'll go over them again. We're going to go back to the mothership now. It's okay. We've got you covered. And on the next break, we're going to bring in another, like, creepy little emoji. I've got lots of creepy little emojis. I've got a folder full of creepy emojis. Here we go, Scott. Ready? Energize. Oh, yes, indeedy. Our number 3 right here on the Halloween special of Freaky Friday. I hope you've enjoyed the show so far, and it has only been the warm-up for what is to come now. Because there's only so much myself and Scott can do to raise the woo factor right here for all of you on Freaky Friday. And we now go to all of you to take it to that next level of woo. Because we can search the internet for days, weeks, months on end. But I have come to find, and Scott will back me up, that some of the most interesting stories, they sit at home with you that's listening right now. So come along, be a part of the show. We're all equals here. We don't bite, me and Scott. Again, that might be an optional extra if we go for the Happy Fun Time membership package on the Kev Baker Show. But we can get into that later, Scott, right? So if people want to call in before I forget that I've put the phones on, I haven't even put the phones on yet, and there's people on there, Scott. They're waiting already. So if you're in the US, all you do is you dial 213-233-3998, and that is 213-233-3998. Alternatively, if you're over here in broken Britain, all you got to do is phone up 0044 203 393 2871 at 0044 203 393 2871. So, Scott, I'm just going to take you off the screen a moment so people can't see our super secret squirrel number that we dial on the back end to take us into the phone line. Yes, I wonder what delights. We've got 2 callers on the line already, Scott. So you just never know how this is going to go, man.
Excellent.
Yes. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do. Yes. Hello?
Hello.
How's it going,
Hello.
Mr. Kevin? Here we go, folks. We are going live to the other part of the mothership. Can you believe it, Scott? Yes, there we go. We are on the lines, and we have got a connection. And Scotty Lopez, get this, because we're going to our first caller, and it's area code 313, and that's in Tulsa. Now, is that close to you, Scotty?
Yeah, I was about to say 3-1. When you said 3-1, I was like, oh, we're in the Midwest. We're getting pretty close. Yeah, Tulsa, yeah, south of me.
Yes. So let's go live to Tulsa. Welcome. Yeah, welcome to Freaky Friday.
Hello.
Who are we talking to? It's great to hear you.
Well, the easiest way to find me is Ginger Slap.
Ginger what? Sorry?
Ginger Slap.
Ginger Slap. Okay then, Ginger. So then,
Yes.
how is your Halloween Freaky Friday going?
It's going great. I always enjoy watching you guys, and I thought I would call in because you guys were asking for some interesting personal experiences, and I definitely got them.
Oh, tell us more. Yes, indeedy.
Oh goodness. I've always had like experiences of different kinds throughout my life, but they've not been as intense as the stuff that's been happening in the past 2 years. But a couple of years ago, I was going to go crystal hunting at the Ouachita National Forest, but I was going to go by myself. Had this trip planned. I go camping by myself all the time. I'm not scared of that stuff. But the weekend before I was going to go, I went to a party, hung out with some of my friends. There was this other lady there that we both have like weird names because we're in the public eye a lot. So I knew of her, she knew of me, but it was the first time we had really got to hang out and get to know each other. And she's like, "What are you doing this weekend?" I'm like, "Actually, I'm leaving to go crystal hunting." And she's like, "Oh my gosh, I want to come with." And I would usually say no because I wanted to go by myself, but something inside of me just said, yeah, okay. And she's like, I don't have any camping stuff. I said, I have everything you need. Just bring your clothes and what you need. And she's, okay. So here I basically pick up this stranger that I only know from like online personas stuff. And we head to the Ouachita National Forest to camp and hunt for crystals. On the way there, I'm a good navigator. I travel all the time. I have to with my work, but I had it mapped out. I had looked at everything. What it had to have changed. Like my map thing had to have changed itself on the way because it didn't take me to the spot that we were supposed to go to. Instead, it took me up to the top of the mountain, but I had never personally been to this one before, so I didn't think much of it. I thought, well, I just keep going. This is what I mapped out. But as we're going up the mountain, there's like old campsites that are grown over. It looks like nobody's been camping there for years, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I hope there's stuff further up ahead, and we're kind of laughing about it. Get up further, and I'm just like, man, I haven't seen one squirrel. I haven't seen anything. Like, have you seen it? And she's like, no. And everything just seemed dead. Like all the trees are dead. There's so much stuff knocked over. But my GPS dropped me off at the point of the top of the mountain where there is absolutely nothing there. And it was getting later, so it took us 45 minutes to get up to the mountain to nothing. And I'm like, well, we know what's behind us, we don't know what's in front. Do you want to keep going forward or do you want to turn around? Because I was trying to make her comfortable too, because she didn't even camp or anything. And she's like, well, let's just keep going. Well, we probably got maybe a mile ahead or so, and there was this freshly groomed campsite, a little cove with like tall grass all around it. There was 3 trees to set up the hammocks. I was like, oh man, this is perfect. So I pull my car in and face it out towards the exit. She's like, wait, where are you going? She thinks I'm leaving. I said, oh, you always point your car out. You don't want to ever have to back out anywhere. It's like, we're 2 girls on a mountain. I'm not stupid. She's like, oh my gosh, okay. Well, we start to pull the stuff out, set it up, and there's these burn marks, like it looked like little fires. There's 4 of them. But there was also a place for a fire pit that had grass grown up in it, hadn't been burnt forever, but then there was 4 burn marks where we were about to set up the tent. And she's like, what is this? And I was like, well, possibly somebody camped on the ground and set some fires to keep animals away. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Well, we set everything up. And after we're done moving around and sit down, it's like I can feel the wind, but I don't see any leaves moving or grass moving. I don't see one bug. I'm paying attention, and I'm just like not trying to freak this girl out either, though. But I just felt so eerie and weird. I'm just sensitive. But I said, hey, you want to get up and like start the fire and like cook some dinner before it gets dark? She's like, yeah. We got out of that space where those burn marks were, cooked our food. We were feeling awesome and all that. We come back and after we ate and sat back down in the hammocks, and instantly I feel that way again. And I'm like, so I was like, I'm not trying to freak you out, but do you feel like weird at all? And she said, oh my God, I'm so glad you said something, because I feel almost a panic inside of me that I don't feel safe. But she's like, but everything's dead. It doesn't feel right. Nothing. I said, okay. I said, I have camped so many times by myself. I'm not scared, but I would feel better if I just set up the back of my car and we got inside the back, because I just feel weird. She jumped up and was like, yes, I got your back. Let's do that. She grabbed a knife from the table. She was like, had her back to me while I'm fixing the car. And granted, it is still daylight, okay? And we are feeling this like intense, like, yes, we want to get in the freaking car. So get it set up, get in, close the doors. This immense fog rolls in. It got so dark so fast. I've never experienced going to darkness that fast ever in an evening. And it was all thick fog. And she's just like, what is going on? I was like, I mean, I guess it's like cool enough, whatever. I'm trying to blow off all this stuff. And so these white orbs start appearing like in the tree lines, just like kind of going in and out. And, just there's a lot of them. And I'm looking and I was just like, oh, man. So,
Wow.
okay, yeah, that's a lot of those. Sorry, what?
No, I was just saying, wow, white orbs start
Oh,
showing
okay.
up. That's yeah.
Yes,
Crazy.
but this is just the beginning. This is nothing at this point. So then she finally says something like, hey, do you see those orbs too? And I was like, absolutely. It's like they're dead staring at me, like they hate me or something. And she's like, right? But they're just like orbs. Why would I feel like they're staring? I'm like, I don't know. I don't feel right. I was like, I don't want to leave though, but I'm in my car. I'm locked in here. I'm fine. And she's like, okay, yeah, you're right. And she's trying to be cool. I'm trying to be cool because we don't know each other. It's just all so new. Well, then beams of light start shooting up from different areas way deep out in the forest from like the ground up. Like not like any traffic, horizontal lights, straight up. And she is just like,
So
oh my God, oh
like
my God.
like
She starts
like
freaking out.
so like pillars of light just coming up.
That's what it sounds
Yes.
like, yeah.
But yes, but they weren't like staying for a long time. It was like, they light up for a couple seconds, then go out. But they were all over the place and all around us in different spots, and it was so random. And I did not see any other cars. I did not see one ranger. I've never been to a national forest and not had a ranger come up to me and be like, hey, what's up? How long
Ginger,
are you guys staying? All
this
this
almost
stuff,
sounds like you drove into some kind of like time slip, some kind of area, Scott, where
Oh,
like
just wait.
there's
Ooh.
more. Keep going,
Oh,
keep
just
going.
wait.
Yes, I'm gonna shut up.
It goes so crazy deep that I've never publicly talked about this. I've never. And if I would never talk about it if I had gone by myself, because I would have questioned my own mental sanity. I'm so happy that this stranger went with me. Like, just because it's like, okay, I have another sober mind to let me know I'm not crazy. This both had the same experience. But anyway, we didn't see anybody drive. There is nothing the whole time we were there except for weird stuff. Well, these beams of light, blah, blah, whatever. Then we hear this cackling. It was the first like nature sound we had heard the whole time, but it sounded so weird and crazy. And she's like, what the F is that? And I'm like, shh, I'm trying to listen. I'm like, those are owls. And she's like, oh my God, I think you're right. What the heck? I was like, that is the weirdest like noise I've ever heard an owl make. I've never heard that noise, but it was almost like a panic or an anger, like it's ridiculous sounding when I do it, but it was so strange. But so one's like way over on this side of us and one's on the other side, and it was like they were chattering crazy to each other back and forth from far away. And while they're doing that, and this voice that had to have been like 10 freaking vocal cords all in one, the most demonic sounding, beastly scream, okay? Like, it shook me so hard. Movies wished that they could recreate what we heard. And it screamed out 3 times. And she's like, what is that? I said, that is the devil. Like, there is nothing else. Well, that is so demonic. I was like, I don't know, but I'm still, I said, I just have to be faithful God's got our back and we're okay. And she's like, okay. And like, yeah, we're good. We're in the car. We're safe. Like, but this is happening. Well, this green light comes from far off in the distance, but it was so bright. And it's slowly gliding towards the car. And she's like, what is that? And I just laugh at this point. I'm like, a lightning bug? Like, and she's like, oh, yeah, right. A lightning bug that doesn't flicker. That's just like that bright. I was like, dude, I'm questioning everything right now. I don't know what it is. It came up right up by the window, floated by. It was a freaking fairy. Okay. I wouldn't believe any of this stuff the day before this event. She was like, that was a fairy. It made her feel really good. It was the first moment that she wasn't panicking for some time. And she lays back in the car and she's looking, just like, oh. And then all of a sudden she grabs me by the shirt and yanks me down by the window. And she's like, what is that? And it was like a UFO. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's definitely a UFO. It's zigzagging all around up in the spot. She's like, oh, my gosh. And then it starts to go it looked like it was going deep into space because it's getting smaller. But as it's going out, another one is coming in. And she's like, oh, my God, this is like a highway. But it came straight for us. To the point when it gets straight over us and we jump up, there was static electricity in the air. It was crazy. It was like thick, just electricity just all around, but it had this deep wah vibration sound with a higher pitch. And I tried to find the sound, and like Saturn is really the closest, highest pitch like sound that I can find of like the sound of that Saturn makes. But it just was going through our whole bodies. It was everything. And I was just like sitting there just like, God, please just make it go away. I just want it to not harm us. And it slowly went away. And I'm like, oh, and then everything starts to, get normal again slowly. And right when she said, oh my God, it came straight back down. And we went through the whole thing again with the static electricity and vibrating our bodies. And I thought, I'm going to disappear at any second. But again, I prayed again. And then it went away.
There it is again, Scott. There it is again. And this is something we come across all the time, Ginger. I don't know what it is. Well, we do know what it is, Scott. It works, right?
Yeah, invoking
man.
prayer.
Yeah.
It does something, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, she was really not much of a believer. It was very hard to maintain my composure and help her at the same time. But
Yeah.
I said, look, Melissa, the biggest FU that I can give right now is to not give anything else my attention. It's like, I know that it is going to be the worst sleep or not sleep of my life, but I think we should just lay down, ignore everything, and that's the strongest thing we can do. And she's like, okay, I'm with you. When the sun came out, I have never packed up a campsite as fast as I did. Okay. We got out of there. The first people, life, anything that we saw, we're going back down the mountain the way I came because I knew what was that way. And there was this bridge on the way up. And so on each corner of the bridge, there was a truck, like a good old boy, regular, pickup truck. Each corner of the bridge had a truck. There was all these country guys there and one park ranger. But they had these, ridiculous looking small orange cones like blocked off the bridge. And nobody had any work equipment. Nobody had a clipboard. Nobody had anything to convince me that you guys were there for any kind of work whatsoever. They all just didn't seem right. And she's like, what are we going to do? How are we going to? I was like, I'm just going to zap him. I'm going to zap him. I'm going to pray about it. Like, she's like, what? And I was like, dude, I'm just going to pray about it. That's going to be all right. I swear, they move the clones out of our way. They give us the, go to hell look. Like, we just want you to die. I gave that park ranger the biggest smile I could, just like, hey. And he did not even remotely smile back at me. He looked at me like, die. I said, hey, I'm gonna buy us breakfast. Let's go get some coffee. Let's get the heck out of here. She's like, oh yes, I never want to see this mountain again. We go have a great breakfast. Everything. The waitress that was checking me out, she was the one that waited on us. I said, hey, have you ever heard of anything crazy in the Ouachita National Forest? And she's like, oh, I don't go up there, but there's a lady in the back that you could talk to. And I was like, oh, okay. I go sit down, and this lady comes out of the back, and just with this like shit grin on her face. And right after I saw her, I was like, I'm not talking to this person. And Melissa goes off like, oh yeah, like all this crazy stuff, tells this lady all, and I'm just sitting there like, I'm not even gonna look at you. And tells her about the burn marks and everything like that. And the lady said, oh yeah, that's how we summon the four corners. She said, last night was a really rare witch moon. We haven't had one in 8 years. She said witches came from hundreds and hundreds of miles around from all over the place to celebrate on that crystal charged mountain.
Whoa.
Shut up. Okay. Melissa was like, oh my God, now we know what happened. So we leave there like, we're sitting in the parking lot just talking because we're freaking out. We both call our husbands because we're freaking out. We're just like, oh my God. So we literally camped in the middle of what they had summoned earlier, groomed that campsite up for and everything. And then they couldn't complete their stuff. So all of that stuff was, I was trying to get us out of there, I guess. But we stayed. I said, that's the biggest F you can do, right? Is try to just go.
That's like walking into the middle of
whatever.
Bohemian Grove right when they're about to have their ceremony of care, Scotty.
My God.
That is wild. That's wild. So there was a giant witch coven ceremony. What'd you say? Was it hundreds of witches were out there?
She said hundreds of witches traveled from hundreds of miles away to celebrate on that crystal charged mountain.
Wow.
I'll never forget.
I mean, first of all, I would say, probably that mountain, that area you were in, it was already a very energetically charged place, right? We're talking about probably one of these natural vortexes that we talk about a lot, right? And the fact you were talking about how there was no like vegetation growing and everything seemed dead. It reminds me of some of these circles, right? Like the Bokchu forest and stuff where you just have like a, and then boom, all of a sudden they're like, there's this area where nothing grows. And so I bet these witches, go out there because they already know that the place already has this energy, already has this charge. And, we got to talk about the quartz crystal that's probably located in that area, right? I mean, you were going out there to go crystal hunting.
You can just walk around and find it. It's all through that mountain. Like, you don't even hardly have to dig.
Obviously, this is a very charged, energetic place, probably a ley line situation, and y'all were just in the middle of some crazy vortex, and then you have these witches out there focusing their energy on
a crystal
stuff.
Mountain, Scott. You're talking about a literal Stargate. I mean, potentially the way we've looked at things and talked about it in the past.
Yeah. Wow. You guys are lucky. You guys are lucky it didn't end up being like a missing 411 situation, man.
That's where I thought it was going.
Man, I was I've never been so scared in my life. Like, it's really hard to make me scared. And if you make me scared, I usually get mad about it. But that was just the most real stuff I've ever experienced. And, it made me, it made me aware of, hey, this stuff's real. This really happened. This other person really experienced this with you. So if this stuff is here, then what other light things are here as well? These dark things, they want to be worshipped.
Yeah.
Like, you willingly give praise to the light. It's not demanded. It's like, if you want to, please, you have free choice. Cool. But also, I want to tell you one other thing that I experienced earlier this year.
We're almost on the break, so you'll need to really cram it in before we go to the break.
Okay, it's real short, really short. Okay, I went to Dallas. I stayed with one of my friends for the weekend. Her mom moved out of the room, so I was able to stay in her mom's room. I usually slept in her room with her when I go visit. First time I'd been in that room. That night, we went to bed late. I went to bed at like 2. I got awoken at 3 a.m. to my chest being smashed, compressed to where I couldn't breathe. And I was lifted up off the bed and turned horizontally onto the bed. And I couldn't even barely talk, but all I could say is, I rebuke you. It took so much for me to say that. And after I got it out, I got dropped horizontal.
Oh, Ginger, we're on the break. We're on the break, Ginger. We're going to have to let you go. Mm-hmm. That was awesome. We'll be right back, folks. Don't go anywhere. There we go, Scotty boy. Yes, indeed. Always a good call to open up the phones. And we got cut off by the break there, man. Oh, dang, dude.
That was a crazy experience.
Big time.
And yeah, that's wild.
Another one of our listeners as well. Something similar happened to them. So that bad enough one person telling you that, and then you find out it's like more common than you think.
Once again, the woods. We're talking about these.
I know, but you add to that crystalline mountain, Scott. What are we dealing with there, man?
Yeah, we're talking about an area with high concentrations of quartz crystals because, I mean, obviously, people go out there and they go crystal hunting. So we're talking about an area that holds, that can hold a lot of energy. And then you throw in the whole thing of these witch covens going on there with hundreds of witches out there that night, all performing some ritual.
Well, trust me, Scott, listen. I know how people react when you have one witch on the show. Dang, dude. Get a full coven of them on here. Something that'd probably be a radio first. I'd be up for it. A coven of witches come onto the show.
Wonder if the pillars of light that she saw just kind of randomly popping up from different areas around her were like each one of these individual witches when they would invoke their little thing.
Did she mention fairies as well at one point?
Yeah, she said there was a green light that appeared to be a fairy, but they felt that it was a positive, like a more, and it kind of
remember
reminds
what Mikhail said. The one occasion when he had that light entity kind of came and pulled him back, kind of thing.
Yeah, and even with the shadow blob story we read earlier, where a guy said that a white blob showed up and almost like chased off the dark one. So maybe when these kind of experiences happen or these circumstances happen, that not only do you get dark entities that come through, maybe you have light entities that come through as well, and maybe we're getting a glimpse into the battle between darkness and light, that we just don't witness in our realm. Maybe that this battle is occurring on a higher level that we don't understand,
Big time. And we've got another caller coming on after the break. So yes, lots more to come here. And don't forget, folks, we've got another live stream right after this. Head on over to Paranormal Portal, where you can catch our good friend Brent Thomas And I urge you all to do that. I really do. I know there's thousands, millions of channels to choose from here. But yeah, head on over Brent Thomas, Paranormal Portal, and our good friend, the man himself, Ryan Gable, sneaks into the chat room there, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I seen him coming in there, Scotty. I caught him. Mr. Gable, indeed. Yes. I tell you,
Yes.
Scott, we get all the big names not only on the show, but listening to the show, man. Ryan was raging the other night. I didn't tell him that I was going on Clyde, but it's because it wasn't confirmed like until the last few hours. I didn't want to look like a bit of a dick if it had fallen through. Do you know what I mean?
And I also got to mention.
Here we go,
Ryan's
Scott. Here we
got
go.
an-
Here we go. Sorry, Scott. Here we go.
No problem.
There we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment of today's Freaky Friday. And not just any Freaky Friday, but it's been the Halloween special. And not just any Halloween special, because now it's your Halloween special. Yes, we've opened up the phones here in the final hour of Freaky Friday. And before we get back to our amazing callers, because without the listeners, without the viewers out there, we'd be absolutely nothing. We'd just be two dudes hanging out on Skype, talking about some really interesting stuff. And it's all of you out there that adds that extra dimension. And I wonder what dimensions we'll be going to with our next caller. But before we get there, you can go to another dimension after the break. Brent Thomas will take you through the paranormal portal. And I assure you, nobody ever gets hurt going through the paranormal portal. But at the same time, you never quite leave the same again. Yeah. Oh, that was good, Scott. That should be an advert for Brent, man.
Yeah, that was very good, Kev. And yes, that is a portal that you do want to enter. You know,
Yeah.
most portals you don't want to walk into, but Brent Thomas in the paranormal portal just step right on through that. You'll have a good time.
Imagine that's what happens. You hear about people having near-death experiences, and they talk about the light. I want my brain to construct for me, path A, path B. Path A, Brent Thomas with the portal, man. I'm straight through it, dude. I'm gone.
Yeah, exactly.
Level 2. So then, let's go live to Washington State, no less, and Spokane. And
Squatch country.
get this, a very, very big friend of the channel and a big supporter of the channel. And she is the owner of probably the most used wrench in the chat room. We're going live to Kristen for some woo. Oh, this has been a long time coming. Yes, Kristen, welcome to your chat room. I mean, Freaky Friday.
Hello, how are you?
We are very, very well. It's great to hear you. It's great to have you on the show as opposed to policing the chat room. And myself and Scotty, on behalf of both of us, I must thank you and all the other mods out there on YouTube for keeping things nice and civil and decent and adding to what is the best chat on YouTube. Yes, I said it. So, Kristen, tell us, you've been kind of teasing me that you've got paranormal woo stories that we would love to get into. So on this, your Halloween special, tell us what woo awaits us.
Well, I'm just going to give you all just a little teaser because honestly, I'm not sure 30 minutes is going to be enough time for this story.
Whoa, Kristen. Now, myself and Scott, we have been won over already. Yes, Scott, let's get the truth hammock out. Let's put our feet up, smoking jackets on. Oh, Kristen, over to you. Tell us what's happening.
I'm going to kick back.
I'll just start with a little boy who's 3 years old, and the story will revolve around him. But leading up to this, this story of this little boy, there were things that happened in this house that I had lived in that were unexplained. You know, the normal yelling at your teenagers for leaving the lights on, leaving the TVs on, and then they say, well, we didn't do that. And, you know, then they get grounded and, you know, that's what happens to teenagers. But so we had some of that. And then there was one time when everyone was downstairs and we hear this loud bang and we all, go upstairs, and in this one room, this one affected room, you know, those tubs that you when you have a new baby and you wash them in like a baby bathtub thing.
Yep.
It had been sitting up, not even, it had been like laid flat on a shelf, a small shelf. It wasn't very high, maybe 12 inches off the ground, but it was flat. But that noise had been that bathtub had was now halfway in the middle of the room. It was on the shelf in a closet, and now it was halfway in the middle of the room. Whatever, we were all like, what just happened? What was that? And um and so, didn't really think anything of it. It was kind of weird, and it went along with all like the footsteps we would hear upstairs when no one was upstairs, and we'd holler up to whoever we thought was up there and never get an answer. So, we had the walking footsteps. And then there was another time, and this was before my son was born. Um, you get these things at graduation, and they look like a diploma cover. It's like a book, like leather, and you can get your graduation proofs in there. Excuse me. And that had been sitting again flat on my dresser, and we hear another loud bang, and this is in the room next door to that other room. And we all go upstairs to see what the loud bang was, and there was this picture book in the middle of the bedroom. And at both times there was no wind. There are things that just wouldn't normally fall on their own, and the fact that they were far away from where they would have, naturally fallen. So that was concerning, But again, we just didn't think anything of it. And then I will leave you with a 3-year-old boy. I will leave you with bats, and I will leave you with a portal.
Ooh.
Portal, you say?
Mhm. Oh, it's a portal. It was a portal, and it's very scary.
Scott, why is it we keep coming across these same things all the time?
You can't just leave us hanging like that, Kristen.
No. And before you go on, though,
Well, the
Kristen,
only thing,
before you go on, I mean, think about this. Everyone out there, think about this. I mean, this is ticking so far. All of the boxes that myself and Scott and usually Joe get into. We've got the portal. We've got something kind of supernatural going on. And Scott, unfortunately, here we have a child again at the center of it.
Yep, exactly. Goes back to these things being drawn to children for some reason. So here we are again.
well, if you guys want more, I'll tell you more now. If you want to
Oh,
hear it now, I just want to give other people the chance to call in.
no, we want more. We want more, Kristen. Come on, I'm not
We-
letting this opportunity slip away from us. Scott's sitting there, he's waiting to hear more. The chat room are saying, "Come on, we're dying for the next installment." Where does it go from here?
Okay. All right. Well, here it goes from here. Now, this, um, when I was pregnant with, his name's Robbie. It's not a secret. His name's Robbie. Um, when I was pregnant with him, I had just prayed. I'd had really bad pregnancies, and I just prayed, and I was like, God, you could just have this child, whatever. I was done worrying about if the pregnancy would go okay. So, I handed him to God. Well, there were 2 times that this child should have died before he was born. And one of them was we had gone up to the hospital, um, because, I thought I was in labor and I wasn't. And they sent us home, and it was like 45 minutes to get home from the hospital. And it was so foggy that night. It was the worst fog that I had ever, ever, ever seen, ever. And so we're driving down the highway, and we're not even going very fast. You couldn't hardly even see anything. You could hardly even see like the cars in front of you, like their tail lights. You couldn't hardly see them. And so we were just going down the highway, and the car in front of us had pulled over like onto the shoulder of the road. And so my husband went ahead and he just pulled over on the shoulder of the road too. You know, we weren't going fast enough. Like once we saw his brake lights, it was safe for us to stop as well. What had happened was it was on a 2-lane road. Okay, I should have cleared that. But there was a car passing on the opposite side in the fog, and you couldn't see the oncoming headlights. And if the person in front of us hadn't pulled over, it would have been like a pileup accident. And so he was covered there. You know, he was covered. And I just we just went on our merry way after that. And I was just thinking, man, this little boy is just, you know, it had to have been the hand of God in that situation. It just had to have been. And you know, then there were issues with when he was born, and that all of that stuff worked out just fine. And you know, he should have been deathly ill and in the hospital for months. He wasn't. He was fine. Just went home fine. And then actually on the way going home, we got stuck in a blizzard, and the car had gone into a ditch, and out in the middle of nowhere, literally in the middle of nowhere. And, you know, we knew people in our small town, 45 minutes away, who used to live in the town closest to where we were, that came and got us out. So, anyway, we don't need to know that story, really. The fact that he was saved in that instance, you know, 2 days old in a blizzard,
Yep.
and we got saved. Okay. So this child is like touched by God. And we ended up, you know, there were 7 of us in this house, and we ended up like having to have the baby in the room with us. And at the time, didn't realize that anything, you know, our ghost was there or anything like that. And life went on its way. That's 3 years later. Um, Robbie says he's like having night terrors, you know, really bad, vivid nightmares. And he's 3 years old. And, you know, he's talking about bats and how he sees bats, and that there's a circle that the bats fly in and out of.
Oh,
And, you know,
Oh,
we don't think anything of it. We just think they're a dream, but he's having these really vivid dreams. But at the same time this is happening, we're bats are showing up in our house. Like real bats are showing up in our house. We have a little like butterfly net that my husband goes and catches the bats and puts them outside. But there's no way for these bats to get in. You know, we checked everywhere, and it would be like they would just be there. They would just be flying around in the living room. And um, you know, it wasn't until later that we put the bats together with what was happening in Robbie's dreams. And I was at a Bible study, and we were talking about, I don't even remember what we got onto, but I jokingly was like, oh yeah, well we have a ghost in our house. And that's when, you know, they all came over and they prayed over the house, and we blessed it, and we blessed all the windows and everything like that. But
so how did
and
things
that was
go after?
when
How did
we
things
really
go
got
after that, Kristen? Did that like kind of abate
um
things for a while?
it did. It did. We didn't He didn't ever uh say again that he saw them or anything like that. But excuse me, he when the pastor came over is when he really got, I don't know why he felt, I mean, he's 3 years old. How does a 3 year old tell adults what he's seeing? But he, all of a sudden, he was very clear about what he saw, about this big round circle that's in the windows, and and
But,
that the bats would fly in and out of it. And you
Kristen,
know, for a 3 year old, a bat is
and Kristen, remember the Shadow Dude video? Remember the way that the Shadow Dude got in and out the house, right at the window?
through a window.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, and so you know, at 3 years old, he called them bats, and I'm just assuming that, you know, as a 3 year old, that's the only thing that he knew to call it. Um, but he said that they were always in the room, and they would fly in and out of the big circle, the big black circle, and he talked about the red eyes and
You see, where does
um
a 3-year-old get that, Kristen? I mean, it's all
exactly
right. Me and Scott, we've heard the red eyes with Mothman and all the other kind of cryptids, but for a 3-year-old, there's no context. There's no kind of he hasn't got a vast wealth of knowledge of red-eyed entities. This is why we say it, Scott. The kids can see a lot more of the real world that us adults think we've got it sussed, right?
And kids don't really lie,
No, no,
and
they can't.
like
Not at that age, dude. Right?
they're extremely honest, right? They're
To a
too
fault.
honest.
Yeah, to a
Because
fault.
they'll come up to somebody and be like, "You're ugly," you know what I mean? Because
They've got no
they
blockers, man.
there's no filter on them, or anything. They don't really know the concept of lying, really. I mean, so yeah, that's crazy, and you're right, Chris. I mean, he was calling them bats, but all he's seeing is flying dark entities, and so probably that was
right.
the only thing he could correlate it to, and just think of it as a bat. But he's probably seeing some kind of a flying winged black objects, or black entities with red eyes, and that's pretty wild. That's pretty crazy.
It's interesting. It's interesting. Like in hindsight now, like even just talking to you, because this I don't ever talk about this story. Um, I just don't. And but like talking to you right now, one of the things he said when he had to have been right around this age when this was happening, is he would just like come up to me and he'd just be like, um, I want to kill myself. I'd be like, what?
Whoa.
You know,
Oh,
what? And we didn't watch any. We didn't even watch TV. There was no like any kind of like regular NBC, CBS kind of stations. You know, like when you have your. The only thing I could think of was like a CSI kind of show, but we just didn't watch those shows. Once our kids got
yeah.
to be a certain age, we just and that was years ago with his older sister. So there were things that he was saying, and I can't think of other things right now, but things that he was saying when he was that young that he would have no way of knowing. What 3 year old talks about wanting to kill themselves? Or 4 years old. He was between 3 and 4 when this was happening. You know, and the fact that at 15 years old today, he is still there are still effects that he suffers from that happening when he was so young. He he hates to be left home alone by himself ever. At 15 years old, if I just even have to go down to the bus stop to pick up his sister, he's in the car with me. And if for some reason, say like and he always wants to know where I'm at. So if I'm running late, and I'll say, oh, I'm running late, I'll be home 15 minutes late. If it's 20 minutes from the time I said that, he's texting me, where are you? How much longer will you be? And if I'm driving and I can't answer the text, he'll call me. And when his dad and I were split, we had separated a couple years ago, and he really wanted to go and stay with his dad. And I told him, I was like, I can't let you go. And I mean, he was really angry with me. And he said, why? I said, because your dad works a lot and he gets called out at night, and you will be in that house by yourself at night. And so I guess he was 14 at the time when we had this conversation. And he was like, I'll be okay. I'll be okay. And I was like, no, you won't be okay. You can't even be alone by yourself for 5 minutes. How are you going to be alone all night long in a house that you're kind of scared of? And he told his he told his sister the other day, out of the blue, and this he used a word that I have never used with him. I've never put this word out there, even though it's the right word to use. He told his sister this just 2 weeks ago, maybe a week ago. He said, yeah, I saw demons in that old house when I was 3. Where did
Ooh.
that come from? I mean,
Because
you know,
Kristen, he
it was
literally was seeing demons when he was 3. That's where that comes from.
Yeah, like he finally made the
absolutely,
connection. Like, oh, those
yeah,
weren't bats I was looking at. Those were, you know, now that he's older, he's reflecting back on it and he's realizing the magnitude of what he actually witnessed.
right, right. And especially with Halloween coming up and and all that. And as a kid, he's never ever dressed up as anything scary. And when he was in elementary school, like at Halloween time in arts and crafts, they would do, um, coloring pictures and stuff like that. And there was one year that I was a substitute, and they had to pull out their coloring sheets and their all this stuff, and he pulled out his coloring sheet, and it was like balled up, like you ball up a piece of paper to throw in the trash can, and he balled it up, and I was like, dude, this is your art project, you're going to get marked down for it. And I opened it up, and it was a big old bat, and he had taken the black crayon, and it was like heavy crayon, like slashing marks across the whole thing, and all he kept scrunching it up, and he was like, I just want to throw it away. And I was like, well, why don't you? He said, because the teacher won't let me. And so little things like this that you have an experience like that, and then to see the effects of it so many years later, and you know
Kristen, it's no wonder
very
that
very
I
thankful.
mean, you've said to me a few times you like the woo when it's daylight. You know, listening to some of this stuff, I'm not
Right,
surprised you don't like listening to the woo in the dark. I mean, we call it woo, but you've
yeah,
literally, I mean, you've been living this stuff. That's why sometimes, Scott, it's not that I feel bad, but sometimes people may think that we like mock it, like make fun of the woo, but it's actually the opposite. It's my way of coping with stuff that the brain just can't process, man.
Exactly, man. And I mean, just going back to this experience he had. I mean, when you think of the sort of the archetypal image of a demon, right, or a fallen angel, right? They have wings, they're dark, right? They
Yeah.
probably have red eyes, So thinking about it in that context, they probably would look like bats,
Hmm.
right? Winged entities flying through a portal. I mean, that's some crazy stuff, man. And I could kind of see where he's coming from with the whole, like checking in on his mom and wanting to know where she was at and all that stuff, because it's kind of similar to my experience I had when I was real young. And I had that experience where I just felt that terror when I was in that house, right? And I just like felt this dread, like I was gonna die or whatever. And I was like screaming for my mom and all that stuff. And after that, I kind of was in the same thing, to where if my mom was gone for any period of time, I would start feeling like anxiety, like I wanted her to come back. I was wanting to know where she was at. Uh, so when you have an experience like that, it does have an effect on you. So yeah, it's wild, man.
And
It's
Marty, I mean, Kristen, you know Marty well from the chat room. She says here that she's met a girl online in chat who said that she's been seeing demons since she can remember. And when she was a little, she thought that everyone could. And she filmed and posted some things that look like spirits to me. And that's the thing as a child. You know, children must think that this is just normal. Everybody experiences this, right?
right.
It's weird.
Well, when children say that
And
they have an imaginary friend, are they really imaginary?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No. So
well, I know that our dogs wouldn't go in that room.
there you go. And for
I
me,
my
yeah, for
my
me, animals are
my
the
dog,
best.
she would you'd go up the stairs, and at the top of you go up the stairs to the landing, and then you go up the next set of stairs, and right at the top of that stairs you can go right into one room or left into the other. And really the hallway was very small. Like she would go up up the stairs to the landing, and then she would pause, and it was like almost like she didn't want to come up there, and she would tiptoe up the stairs, and she'd stay as close to the railing as she could, and then she would like sneak her way into the other bedroom, and she wouldn't go into the bathroom that was next to that room. She wouldn't even go into that room, and um, when my husband and I were having the discussion on whether Robbie should go move in with him or not. I mean, this we had this conversation. This was part of the conversation that we had to have about whether he could have his son with him. Was, you know, I don't want him in that house. I just don't want him in that house by himself. And my husband's like, well, it's fine. That vibe isn't there anymore. And I was like, I haven't been there in 3 years. I don't know what the vibe is there, so I'm not
I'm not taking anyone's word for that vibe being gone. Now, Kristen, unfortunately, we are out of time. It's actually been great to know that you've been able to like take part in the show instead of like working in the chat room. So again, I thank you for everything that you do for us here on Freaky, on the safe spaces, everything. And not only that, but like we said, Scott, sometimes the listeners have a habit of coming in right at the end. We do all the groundwork, we set things up, and then they just come in and steal the show, brother.
Yeah, once again, I mean, just amazing calls, amazing experiences. Um,
And folks,
I think we have, I think we have set the stage for the paranormal portal quite nicely.
big time. And it's going to be coming on after the break, folks. So you can tune in live at tfrlive.com. Also on YouTube, simulcast at the Paranormal Portal channel. This has been an absolute blast, folks. Wherever you are, make it TFR. And Denny, touch that dial. Now, we're still live here on YouTube for a moment, folks, for a moment before we go. But damn, we had two callers there, Scott. Two callers called in. We had Ginger talking about the mountain, which in itself, I mean, talk about that. That's got to be a paranormal hotspot. 364 days of the year. And then on that one day of the year, it's like supercharged, right?
Yeah, I think we're definitely talking about one of these natural vortexes, these natural portals, or whatever you want to call them.
Now,
located at the top of that mountain.
Now think of that and compare it then. Would we call the portal that Kristen came on and spoke about as a natural vortex?
I don't know.
Or
I would
is
call
this
it a supernatural
Yeah,
vortex.
this is something that, yeah. The ones that we're talking about with the mountain are the product of probably the crystalline and the rock and the energies, the forest.
And it just allows for the veil to be weakened in those areas, and then people can, if they put their intent into something, like, obviously, if you were to have,
and compare that or contrast against that. And I like the backstory as well. You know how, there was an incident very, very early on where you could, like Kristen said, you could say, saved by the hand of God. Now you fast forward 3 years and something was very attractive in that household. Something made those entities want to come there as opposed to the next door neighbour on the left or the next door neighbour on the right. And it makes you wonder if that energy was just almost like candy, Scott. Something because of that divine intervention, for whatever reason, it's just given an extra kind of almost luminosity to the light coming off that child,
Yeah, and if the child was, say, gifted or had some kind of
something to do. Yep,
something.
just something to do,
and
Scott. Maybe it could be as simple as just opening a door one day, 30 years from now. But that door is part of a sequence of events that who knows could happen, man.
You would think that if that child was opened up to, like, I would say, like a holy sort of, like, the hand of God, right? That you would think that dark entities would want to stop that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like go after that child.
Big time.
Because they had been touched, or they had this kind of gift. And so like these dark entities and dark forces would want to target that child
Yeah.
just because of that, you know. So that's some wild stuff, man.
Well worth the wait from Kristen. Anyway, she's been teasing me with this for a while. Yeah, definitely worth waiting for Halloween. Well, Polly talks about the smudging. I don't know why it's that word makes me laugh. Smudgy, smudgy, smudgy. I don't know. I'm not knocking the smudging, Polly. I'm just picturing myself going about with chicken feet and smudgers.
Like
I know.
I had my own interesting experience with the smudging, but we were not doing it correctly.
you miss smudged?
Yeah.
You need to watch what you're doing when you miss smudge, Scott.
You don't take multiple shots of Jägermeister and then move on to.
If you
little
use
bit
a
of vodka.
smudge in the wrong way, there's actually there's like stories out there that suggest you may open a portal where Smurfs come through.
Yeah, yeah. People do not get hammered. Do not get hammered and then think you're going to do a smudging ceremony and then run around.
I imagine that looked like a scene from Cheech and Chong.
Let's just say it wasn't just alcohol that was involved, but
I can imagine. Well, listen, we're past 3 a.m. over here in the UK. It's getting close to that 3:33 on the clock. Many of you have had that. Many of you woke up at 3:33, maybe just 3 a.m. You hear about that all the time. But tell you what we'll do just before we go. And if you've got 5 minutes, I think this is worth getting into, because this is something we never had time to get into on the show, but it's definitely worthy of your time. Why? Because it's about time. Yes, indeed. What the hell am I talking about, people are saying? Well, get this, right? Because this was sent to me today. And this says here, and remember Danny that was on my show last week from the UU group, the Un-F Bombers Unite group? She says, Kev, have you checked out what's going on over on the UU group on Facebook? I said, no, I've not had time. And get a load of this, because it's time that there's something really weird happening. And keep in your mind as well. What? Marty, I'm staying for 5 minutes yet. You know I'm addicted to this crap. You guys and girls out there, you know I'm addicted to speaking to you. So think about Joe's Ange, when she talked about the time incident she had, the time slip, where literally she viewed things forward in time. They were out of sequence, right? Think time. Says here, I'm not sure what to make of this experience. Every night I go to bed with my wife around 9 p.m. I'll just blow this up a bit. There we go. And I specifically remember getting home from work today at 5, eating dinner, watching some TV with the wife, and getting ready for bed. Now, she wasn't very tired, so she kept watching TV as I brushed my teeth and got ready for bed. I recall looking at my phone and laughing at myself for being so tired at 9 p.m. Now, there was no mistake on the time I saw. I remember clearly that it was most definitely 9 p.m. I set my alarm for 6:30 and laid in bed and fell asleep. Now, while I slept, I had a strange dream that I was feeling incredibly claustrophobic, and I woke up completely drenched in sweat, with my wife laying right next to me in bed. I looked at my phone and saw it was 6:37. So I got up and I started getting to the shower to get ready for the day. Eventually, I noticed that something felt off. My wife asked me why I was showering so early and if I was feeling all right after my nap. That's when I looked at the clock and saw that it was 6:40 p.m., not a.m. Now, this could come down to complete human error. Maybe the time spent eating dinner and getting ready for the day or for the night was a realistic dream. Or maybe I managed to experience those 5 hours in fast motion. I asked my wife what happened, and she doesn't recall watching TV or eating dinner, but it all felt so incredibly real. Now, there was absolutely no indication that I was dreaming during this time, So I'm trying to figure out if I truly did experience those 5 hours or not. Has anyone else experienced anything like this? Now,
Wow.
yeah,
So
that's fair enough, right? That's fair enough. But this wasn't the only post that had been shared over in Danny's group. And this is interesting. Then we get this coming up. Somebody else, and it's been cut out there, obviously, for privacy concerns. I really thought it was Wednesday. It made my day, though, to find out it was Thursday. I lost a day. So, again, it's a throwaway kind of thing, Scott. But then, in the very same post, from the very same day, this shows up. Has anyone went to bed one night, then wake up a day later? So I went to bed on Tuesday. Now, bear in mind what we said a moment ago. I went to bed on Tuesday night, and I just woke up today, Thursday, at 6:15. Why does this happen? So those previous two, they seem to be talking about two people losing a day on the same day, Scott.
that's pretty wild. And I think I've had that experience before too, where it just seems like you're like, what is it a day later than it seems like it should be? And
It's bizarre,
I
right?
think I think there's something to this. This kind of falls into the time gaps and losing time, or but I do find it interesting that first guy's experience, how he went to bed at 9, but then he woke up 2 hours earlier.
It's almost like he fell
Right.
asleep
Yep.
the night before, but when he fell asleep, he dreamt about the night's events. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like, doesn't it? Although I don't know, it's still a weird one.
I also tie this into whenever I tie this into the feeling of time speeding up that everyone is experiencing. It seems like a lot lately, pretty regularly. I notice, it's happened to me and it's happened to my mom, where it's like, wow, it feels like it's Thursday when it's really Tuesday, right? Or something like that, where it just seems like it's later in the week when it's really earlier, or just it just seems like time feels off, that something feels off, and that it doesn't really feel that it's the day that it really is. I don't know what's going
For
on
me
with that.
personally, I think this year, it's just, it's gone. It's gobbled in a heartbeat, man.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like 2019 was like, that's it.
Yep.
We're already up on.
And not only that, Scott, but it's like when you look back at 2019, 10 years from now, it's actually going to be quite an insignificant year. When you think about it, I mean, there's no like, look at you thinking now, you're like, no, there was that big story, Kev.
Nothing really too big.
It's almost like we're marking.
marking.
Yeah, no, exactly. It's almost like we're marking time, waiting for something else to come down the pike, Scott. That's what worries me. But listen, big
But
man,
even
on you go.
well, I was just say before we go. I mean, even to me, like pretty big gaps of time doesn't seem like very big. Like very big gaps. Like
No.
5 years ago just seems like not that long ago. Like almost like it feels like a year or two ago.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When you think about stuff that happened 5 years ago, it's like, wow, that just seemed like that happened. It feels more like 2 years ago or something, 1 or 2 years ago, and then you realize, oh, that was like 5 years ago. So I think there's definitely something going on with people's perception of time. And
I get it. Everyone says, it's just because you're getting older. I get that. But at the same time, there's something wrong with time.
Yeah, I mean, why is like my younger brothers and stuff experiencing the same thing?
Yeah, even Kevin will tell me that. Yeah, it's been a quick year, Dad. You're like that. Well, hang on. At that age, no year was quick at that age. No, no. But listen, we can get back into this tomorrow night. This
Yeah.
is a good place to pick up the conversation. We're going to get into some time woo. There we go. We're going to get into some time woo tomorrow night on the weekend, the weird weekend. Weird. See, Scott, we've got too many names for too many shows and too many streams, man.
It is what it is.
It's just the
We're
KBS Weird Weekend, right? That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. And I promised to bring my dancing skeletons. I promised to bring them along for the fun as well. And yeah, since earlier on we were laughing about Scott and his what do you call it? His bunny rabbit costume. I think it's only fair that we yes, we'll get some of this on before we go. We'll embarrass myself. And I'm just hoping, Scott, that my mum does not look out these very incriminating pictures of me dressed up as a soy boy.
Yeah, and I'm hoping my mom doesn't go digging through the photo album as well. So
It could be bad, man. It could be real bad. It could be grim, dude.
and since your mom and my mom are now friends on Facebook, they could be cohorting together.
This is what worries me, mate. There could be like things going on in the background, you know?
Yep.
Yep. So listen, folks, we've had a blast. I hope you've enjoyed our very, very Halloweeny, creepy, freaky Friday. First 2 hours went by in a heartbeat, and then we opened up the phones and we had Ginger and Kristen come in and steal the show. So I say to you on this very, very, very special Freaky Friday, enjoy your woo. And if you do hear that little creak that you're not used to, if you do hear somebody blowing their trumpet nose in the background, it's not your birthday anymore, Anne. It's not your birthday anymore. I can get you blowing her nose when I'm trying to take us out on a good kind of monologue on the way out the show. Can you believe it? You see, this is what I've got to work with here, Scott. No idea what this music is all about, folks. But until tomorrow, we will be back then. Keep it real. Keep your minds open. But not to the point where your brain turns to black goo. Just enough to enjoy the woo. Oh, zing. He does it. Doesn't Joe make like a really, really creepy woman in the forest? He's like the woman in Dirty White, isn't he?
Ma'am.
Man, he feels like a white woman. Hashtag white ladies matter. All joking aside, though, all joking aside, can you imagine coming across that entity walking through a national park? Oh, man. Oh, that's the kind of stuff you don't get over quickly.